BabbleGab,
Yay.
I think. The hell is everybody?
There we are. Live chat, please. The button, the battle cat. Apparently, the captioning thinks the show is called the Battle Cat. Maybe we should change the name. Because that
Oh
sounds
yeah, I
better.
actually tried to find BabbleGab an hour ago on YouTube, and it gave me some kitty thing, and it's like I didn't even ask for that. It changed what I wrote. It literally changed what I wrote in
Oh,
the
yeah,
first
they
one.
do that. Oh, did you mean? No, I didn't.
Yeah, it didn't even ask did I mean. It just changed it on me. And boy, I was pissed off.
Let's see. Come on, cursor. Yeah, that's why they call it a cursor. Oh, please work. There we are.
Might be a really short show.
Well, we'll see. And share it on X even though.
It's one thing I've still never gotten the grasp of.
Post.
We will try to be entertaining, I promise. Well, shit. No, I don't promise.
Writing checks your ass can't catch, or some damn thing. All right.
Ready? Technically, we really should have a theme song, and whatever we've done until now should be like in the background.
Yeah.
Um, I've got nothing new going on. Doing things around the property, doing all that stuff I neglected while finishing the film.
Oh, yeah.
Did have a watch party Saturday at a friend's.
Yeah, and somebody made what, lasagna?
Oh, it's an apology nun cake.
Ah, okay.
Wendy Lou made it.
Hey,
Or she had Sam's Club make it.
Sam, huh? Good old Sam.
Yeah, and then she went to pick up the cake, and they were like, they gave her a blank cake.
Oh, nice.
Like, well, where's the picture? I said, oh, that's those are characters, so they're copyrighted.
By the guy doing it.
Yeah,
They couldn't have said something.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh, we tried to text you and or whatever, and they didn't or whatever, and finally or whatever, she told her manager, and the manager's just like, just make the fucking cake already, just put the picture on it.
See, back before there was such a thing as air pollution, nobody gave a crap. It just.
I don't remember living when I was in. Actually, I do remember in Colorado how the smog
Yeah.
was in Denver. The brown cloud just would never leave. I hated that place.
Yeah, I remember Los Angeles back in the 70s. It wasn't much fun. It's a lot better nowadays.
I'm surprised I didn't have like a permanent neurological problem or something. Maybe I do. Maybe that explains it.
Yeah, I mean that could explain it.
Yeah.
What about there's a windshield wiper? Yeah, you're going 200 miles an hour. Windshield wiper.
It's an ugly plane though.
Aw. They always said nice things about you.
Yeah.
They ever wonder, like, which window are you supposed to look out of? There's so damn many of them.
It's probably a good thing because if a bird hits one, you don't want it breaking like a whole panoramic thing. It's going to cost $1 million to replace.
See, now I wonder if I don't know if you ever watched the Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea TV series, but the Sea View had all those. Yeah, with Sea View had all those windows on. Of course, wouldn't have worked in a real submarine. And I was so
So,
disappointed when I realized that most of the science on those 60s Irwin Allen shows was complete bunk.
oh yeah. So does a sore thumb really stand out? I
I
mean, if
think,
somebody has a sore thumb like a hangnail, or they hit their
well,
thumb with
if
a,
it's really like if you broke it or something like that, or if you hit it with a hammer.
I just think it's kind of an odd. Uh,
Yeah, well, that's our language
People's
for you.
thumbs, their hands are down unless you shake their hand or you're watching them do something.
Or like the guy when I was selling cars back in 89, 90, there was one guy, and he'd been an orphan. He'd actually went to Boys Town. You remember Boys Town is not just a movie; it was a real thing. And he was there when he was a kid. And what had happened to him when he was very, very young? He was playing around with his mom's Ringer wash machine. It had the roller thing that would dry the clothes out, and he stuck his thumb in it, and bye thumb. And it was on his right hand. So if you go to shake his hand, there's nothing to stop your hand when you're grabbing his hand, because normally you just go thumb to thumb, right? When you're shaking hands. I don't know if you shake hands with people, you might be one of those people, but he had to like know when to stop so he wouldn't just keep going up his arm.
Uh, I once heard about a woman who had her thumb was bit off by a horse, and they took her, I guess, her big toe and sewed it to where it's. But to me, it's just like now you've got two problems instead of one.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I think I would just have to live without the thumb and work with it. I don't want another part of my body cut off.
Well, that's true, but the thumb is kind of important, I think.
It's important, but I've you learn to adapt.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that it would
it'd be
suck.
easier to put shoes on.
Life wouldn't be as good from then on, but I
Kind of never
definitely
is.
don't want another digit cut off. It's just like, because then what are you going to cut off to take place with the big toe? You need the big toe, you know? You need the thumb.
I saw a picture of Steven Tyler's feet, and oh my God, I mean, his toes all kind of converge on a point.
Oh, I wonder if he's wearing that stupid stage shoes and
Yeah, or
pointy shoes.
women's high heels or some damn thing, because that's what it looked like. It was all just together like that.
That's awful.
Yeah.
That's
That,
how Uma Thurman was, because she was trying to, in Kill Bill, she was tied up and she was trying to open a car door with her bare feet. I think it was a Tarantino fetish thing. But
oh yeah, he's big into feet.
her toes were gnarly looking, just like that, like Steven Tyler.
Yeah.
I think it's because of those high heel shoes. We could talk about this before. I don't think they're sexy to begin with, those shoes. I never understood it. Um,
Well,
Gus Shock said he'll be here at usual time.
yeah, I
Thank you.
was just about to say that, but
Uh,
7 p.m. I don't know. That's Greenwich Mean Time, or I don't know why we have to go by what time it is wherever this green witch who's mean, what time she says it is.
I don't know.
So it's Green Witch Mean Time. I was okay, but green witches were mean all the time.
Greenwich Village.
Yeah.
Um,
I like that one little light there. I was like, that's gonna help.
that one rejected me, that East Village one.
Oh yeah, it wasn't your movie's too straight.
Yeah, it's okay. That was like I think it was like a $4 or a $6 festival. It was like real cheap.
Dang.
I've a few of them have given me full waivers.
Oh yeah. Well, the one that got me is the France one. This is best animation. Yeah, that's you know what they did for Jerry Lewis. I mean, he's huge in France. They love him.
We'll see. I don't know. I get these certificates that say I won or selected or whatever, and I have no idea if it goes anywhere from there. 'Cause a lot of them, it's almost like like a heat, a round,
Mm.
you win 1 month, you whatever, and they might have, and then you go against the big contenders go against each other, and then I guess the winners get screened. But it's not always like that because the one in Denver, I didn't win anything, and my whole film got screened downtown. Remember?
Yeah.
So I don't know how it goes. I have no idea. I try not to think too much about it. I just if the rules, I look at the rules and I don't have to put subtitles and stuff,
Oh yeah.
and I want to make sure it's not past February of next year. Little things like that. A few festivals have weird rules
Yeah.
it's mandatory you attend.
Oh yeah. There you go.
I think there was one or two I said, yeah, I'll go, but um, I don't think I'll do that again because so many of these festivals are right around the same time.
Oh yeah.
I think in November and December it's going to be a big. That's like when most of them are going on.
Ah. Yeah, because you
So
don't
at
want to have
least
to
I
be
got.
in like Moscow one day and then Tehran the next day.
Yeah, I don't think I've entered in any Russian this year because, or this film, because every Russian one had wanted uh, subtitles of some type. So,
Ah.
um, I mean, I appreciate the offer and everything, but I don't have that yet. There was one in France
France.
that said that they need subtitles, but they said if you don't have it, don't worry. We'll get you with you and help you figure it out. I'm like, well, that's fair. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. Because I would like to have, I will have subtitles eventually. I've just got so much going on. I don't, that's really one thing I'm not, because I'd say 90% of festivals, as long as it's in English, they don't demand subtitles. So I'm just kind of going with those now. I've got too much going on to worry about it. And the website that I did the last page of summer, that those subtitles, I can't find it anymore.
Oh.
I don't remember the name of it. And now like AI does it and you can do it yourself. But it all sounds like I kind of liked the website because I knew what I was doing then.
Oh yeah.
And they did good. They told me something that Terry said that when he was crying, when you arrested him that last time and he started blubbering.
Ah.
And I never could understand what he said, and they told me what he said. And I'm like, oh, that is what he said.
Yeah.
Uh, so that was really good. And I should have given them a good review because they asked for me to give a review, and I didn't. And that's probably why they went out of business. But the reason I didn't wasn't because of them. It was because my soul was crushed. That's when Prime, you know, rejected it without cause or reason. And
Hmm.
that was just that bad year. And by then I was through with all of it. Yeah, a couple of friends from church, they attended the watch party. It went over pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Drove the little motorcycle there.
Oh, there you go.
That's the only time I ride it is when I go to Claudine's.
Ah.
I need to ride it more.
Yeah, I wish I could get me a little motorcycle.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. I like having it mostly because of dreams. Because I keep having dreams that I have to finish elementary school, those stupid dreams.
Hmm.
And since I've had that motorcycle, I'm like, at least I can drive that cool bike to school.
Oh, there you go.
That'll separate me from the other kids. Uh, so it's worth having just for that. I'm
Yeah.
just kind of afraid to ride it because of that battery, that first battery that went bad without hardly even using it. And it's like a 16 or $1,700 battery.
Ooh.
So I got that replacement. I'm just afraid that the next time I start the bike, then that battery's going to F up. Honestly, if that happens, I think I'll just get rid of it.
Yeah, it's like
I
it's
mean, the
not.
reason I got it was so I didn't I didn't annoy the neighbors with a noisy motor.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. That's that, uh, you know,
No, we got a guy here with a Harley with straight pipes, no mufflers, and
Oh,
5:22
you told me
a.m.
that. He does it in the morning or whatever.
5:22 on the fucking dot every damn morning. And he would every so often he'd like crank it and it would set off somebody's car alarm.
Damn. Well, you're not the first. And I've got an old Mad magazine, and that was like a hate book thing in a Mad magazine. And they had some asshole on a Harley, like just whistling first thing in the morning, revving that thing up. And
Yeah.
you see this guy in his pajamas running out of his house with a board with a nail in it, about to smash him over the head with it. I bet you feel like I feel like doing it. The guy with the diesel truck still runs it, doesn't. The only thing he does now is he does it on the other side of his yard now
Oh, okay.
instead of
Yeah,
back
we
right
finally
behind
got to
my.
talk to him. It was I was reminded of that friend and lover song, Reach Out. Well, the song is called Reach Out of the Darkness, and the line of the song is Reach Out in the Darkness.
I don't remember even hear the song. All I remember is it's all so groovy now, and isn't that the
Yeah.
song?
Well, the guy is saying like well, he didn't sound as much like a goat as the guy from Family, but he sounded a little bit like a goat. But there was a whole big verse in the song. I knew a man that I did not care for. We said until he, good God, it's okay.
I
That
met a
was
man.
sir, dude. Yeah, you actually have to listen to the lyrics. I mean, I
What are those two
normally don't
divorced?
recommend listening to lyrics of songs, but that one you do.
Oh, there's another song that they did on that same album, and I used to play on my Pandora. And when that woman starts singing by herself, she's even as annoying as him. No, could you imagine hearing them fight? Because I know they divorced,
They
so it's
did,
like,
yeah. It was like, oh, it was all this peace and love and all that other bullshit, and then they broke up like right after.
yeah, that guy was a mix between that guy from the Family and Gene Pitney, which is
Yeah.
like, that's another guy who couldn't sing. I mean, he made $1 billion, in the early '60s. But boy, what a voice! Uh, he said, "I'm so young and you're so old." I mean, that
No,
is.
that's not Gene Pitney. That's what's his name? The kid, the guy from the James Bond movie, the Bless Your Heart guy, um, Wayne Newton,
What?
or was that Paul Anka that did that? I'm
Paul
so young and
Anka.
you're so old. A beautiful fucking
Oh,
line.
okay. I'm sorry. I'm thinking. I don't know who.
Gene Pitney was Liberty Valance, blah blah
Oh, I
blah.
don't remember that one. I remember "It Hurts to Be in Love," which was an okay song.
Yeah.
Hey, Vadesco, how you doing? Um, no, but I get Paul Anka and Gene Pitt. Now, see, when Paul Anka sang "You Have My Baby," he actually, "You Having My Baby," he actually sounded okay.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of those. I'm trying to think of who. There's some song called "Something's Got a Hold of My Heart" or
Yeah.
something, and Mark Allman from uh, Soft Cell,
Oh, okay.
"Tainted Love." He sang it and just sang it beautiful.
Oh,
And then I didn't know whose song it was. It was just a really pretty song that
right.
Pandora used to play. And then he did a duet with the guy who wrote it, who was either Gene Pitney or Paul Anka, and they did a duet together with
Oh.
it. And so you had your Tainted Love guy, Mark Allman. It's like something's got a hold of my, really pretty, and it's like something's got a hold of my heart. That early '60s. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's awful. Don't sing together. It just makes you sound terrible. It's
I
like
gotta look that
American
up.
Idol.
I gotta
What?
look that up because Soft Cell. There was actually I read about him a little bit. The name didn't ring a bell with me, but I read about him, and them and like some other bands in that same area area that they were in would do that a lot. Would take like Motown, 60s Motown songs and cover them, but kind of do their own sort of, with the synths and all that stuff. Because Tainted Love was a Gloria Jones. That was a 60s song.
Yeah, and Where
And
Does Our Love Go was the Ed Medley, which is his previous
yeah,
song.
but I should listen to some more of their stuff because they did a good job on that one.
Yeah, I had an old. It's called the Harmony Rock Encyclopedia. I had it late '80s is when I got it, and when they talked about Soft Cell and or it might have been Mark Allman, all they said, the guy, he can't sing, but it was just, process, vocal processing and this and that, and just uh, like basically saying he's a fake and can't sing. And I thought, because that was, I think I read that after hearing Something's Got a Hold of My Heart and the way he performed that. And I'm like, bullshit. Who are you to say that? You're just a stupid encyclopedia. This say when the song charted and when they got together and what the members were, and if one of them fell out of a plane, you can mention it. It's not your place to give your stupid opinion on something like that. I thought he had a
That's
beautiful voice, and there
oh yeah.
wasn't vocal processing back then.
No, they didn't have
Not in the
that.
80s or whatever. It's like, sheesh. They said the same thing. He said Billy Squire was ugly, and that or that no, they said he couldn't sing, and that he was only popular because his good looks. And I'm like, I don't remember him being particularly good looking. He was just a rock star. People liked him
Yeah.
until
No,
he did
I
that.
had a book like that because I was really heavily into the Beatles back in the late '70s, and I had this big book, and they went through every album, bit by bit, and it was all, I mean, there was a lot of technical stuff and a lot of good information, but the guy would put his opinions on it. It's like, what in the hell are you even talking about? And back then, no internet, so that you basically had to go buy a book, and if the book was full of bullshit, you never knew it.
Yeah, there was this. Remember, put a bookmark there. But I've got that big DVD set that my friend gave me about this guy that made the DVDs. Uh, it was called Deconstructing the Beatles, and then each
Mhm.
DVD is a different album. And what it is he does these seminars in front of a big audience, and he's got a
Oh,
big uh, PowerPoint presentation with actual video clips and audio clips, and he goes through the album. It's not boring. He's entertaining,
mhm.
even if you're not a big Beatles fan, which I'm not. I thought it was interesting,
Yeah.
and a lot of interesting stories. But it's kind of like that. But yeah, you're talking about a book. Shit, I even bookmarked. Oh, I was at a bookstore once, and there was a book about bad songs,
Ah.
like the world's worst songs. It was kind of a big book, and I only looked at a couple of the entries, I think. One, they put Tuesday Afternoon from the Moody Blues.
Okay, I'm gonna find that guy and kick his ass.
Yeah, and I'm just like, and his reasoning was that uh, the trees are calling me near. He's like, what does he mean? The trees are calling me near, but and it's just he was just an asshole,
Oh yeah.
It's just like, and the other one was there was another MacArthur Park was of course on there,
Yeah, that
and
was the famous one. That was the
well,
because it was like,
that's a difference. I'll go there. This isn't the same book.
oh,
You're
it's
talking
not the
about Dave
Dave Barry
Barry's.
book or
Dave
what?
Barry had the popular book,
Yeah.
but this one, he talked about that the writer and the singer of MacArthur Park, basically the one of them made a bet where he'd buy him a Rolls Royce if the song went to number one, because they didn't think it would, and then it did, and he wouldn't give him a Rolls Royce, and then they had a feud and hated each other. It's
Uh,
frigging Richard Harris and Jimmy Webb. They didn't hate each other.
no.
That never happened. It was, this was in the 80s when I saw this book. So it was just all bullshit.
Oh yeah.
And no, Dave Barry, the comedian, or not a comedian, but sort
Right.
of, yeah, he's a newspaper comedian. But he did a on his, what did they used to call those, where they had where a guy had back in the newspaper days, like every week
Column.
they had
Oh, column.
column.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, his column, he'd said something about a bad song, and all of a sudden he'd sparked so much interest that he said, "Well, like, why don't you write in and we'll rank all of the worst songs?" And he just got thousands of letters,
Yeah.
and he admitted in his book there's some songs that he actually kind of likes, but he has to go by what the people were. And MacArthur's Park did get number one. Uh, he didn't seem to hate it, but he had to put it there. It was number one, and he kind of um, don't really think, other than its length, that's the only thing I could think about is just how long it was. I liked the song. I liked it
Yeah.
when I was a little kid. I still have a little place for it. I did a little thing with it with Molly in the theater in the film.
Oh yeah.
It's chipping away in the dark, and we'll never have that love ever again. I can't take it. All those vampires you hang out with, they're sucking you dry.
I didn't mean to do that. What did you do that for? I swear my aim is getting worse and worse.
So's my anus, but it's
Huh?
I'm glad you're doing good, Fidesco. It's rainy season there. They're getting nothing but rain.
Ah.
They get like rainy, what is it, like 2 months of solid rain pretty much?
Yeah, depends on the part of the world. I know in Southeast
Here's
Asia
Liberia.
they get the monsoons, and basically it's hot and raining like hell. And it was explained to me it's basically the same water just going up and down and up and down and up because it just evaporates as soon as it hits the ground, and so it's like recycling. It's like one of those waterfalls you get for the yard. It's just the same water just going around and around.
Oh, that could be nasty when you think about it.
Well, I mean it evaporates and so it leaves behind all of the yuck.
Oh, okay. So do you recognize me at all?
Yeah, that's in the movie.
It is, but a different color, red.
Yeah,
I'm the car that Tracy became and crashed.
yeah. Still got like a piece missing there on your cheek there. Or is it?
Where?
Oh,
What do you mean?
I
I've
don't
got
know.
two holes on either side of the mouth.
Yeah,
Is that
this
what you mean?
looks like there's something supposed to be there.
Well, under my left eye, it looks like a little bit of a shading artifact or reflection. It's not too big a deal. But I wanted to make the teeth, just for putt.
Yeah, he was feeling better, and then not so good, and I don't know. We haven't heard from him. Well, he popped up on our little group chat yesterday, but that was yesterday. Do 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 do.
So if he I hope he feels better. I pray for him. He's still on the prayer list at church. But if he decides to drop off the show for good, isn't it kind of his responsibility to find us a replacement?
Yeah, he's got to like put the ad in the paper and all that.
Yeah. Well, let me see if I wrote anything down here.
But I have to explain when we were watching old movies at the Vortex. I have to explain the. See, now back then the internet was on paper and you had to hold it in your hands and flip through it. And
Yeah, I know, right?
and texts, there was a dude in a little uniform with a little cap who would bring your text messages to you.
Um,
And cell phones
yeah,
were bolted
right.
to the wall.
What?
Cell phones were bolted to the wall.
I did touch on that a little. Butt dialing was a lot harder with the dial phones.
Yeah.
That I did touch on that with the film where Rob's like, put your phone away, it's distracting, and he's got that big rotary phone in his hand. I feel bad. I lost Fred Brodsky's book. The one he sent me, his autobiography.
Hmm.
Um, I hadn't seen it because I wanted to read it 2 years ago before I met him,
Yeah.
and then I couldn't find it. So it's been over 2 years, and I finally told him I'd like you tell me where I could buy your book? And I told him basically I've looked everywhere and how much it meant to me, and he sent me a new one.
Ah,
Nice. Uh, just gonna find a. Okay, he said. I sent him uh, the the CD, the Hideaway, and because I sent him a DVD
right.
since he was like a character, and just burned one for him, and I sent him the Hideaway CD and some little things, apology and things. He's said, "Hi Timmy, thanks for the DVD and CD. I appreciate your thoughtfulness. It just so happens my granddaughter Melody is in town, and I had her listen to your CD to get an appraisal. She majored in music appreciation, philosophy, and is now at Michigan State on a fellowship to her PhD, and also is an accomplished bass player performing in the university orchestra.
Ah,
I consider her a quality source of info when it comes to music. She was quite impressed with your recording. The comments were very interesting and cool, breaking some of the rules in a good way. Of course, her music studies was with Beethoven, Vivaldi, etc., but she certainly enjoyed your presentation. It was obvious she enjoyed your music. Congratulations, you passed the test with flying colors."
ah,
Isn't that nice?
yeah.
I think the thing that meant most is that I break the rules in a good way, because that's kind of what I try to do.
Yeah.
I had him do like a whole new album and just have it beeps and boops. It worked for Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
I guess.
They became huge. There's like a old footage of an aerial view of their tractor trailer convoy. They had 3 tractor trailers, and one said Emerson, one would have said Lake, and one said Palmer.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of neat looking,
Yeah.
but it kind of shows very pretentious.
Yeah.
You
Well,
uh,
especially having to like divide. Okay, that's your stuff. That goes in that truck. Okay, that's your stuff. It got to go over in that truck.
I didn't even think about it that way. I wonder if they had to ride in the trailer. Just think of it, 3 semi-loads for a concert. I mean, those stage apparatuses, says this, goodness, there's a lot to that stuff.
Oh yeah.
When Pink Floyd did their first wall concert, it caught fire, like right before the show started, like their wall caught fire or something way
Ooh.
up at the top. Fortunately, they were able to get it out before it became a catastrophe. But
Yeah.
boy, could you imagine having to be on stage? I mean, be in the same gig as Roger Waters. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I heard somebody say, even now, they saw him in St. Louis and they said, wow, his Pink Floyd songs, it was just, they were so good. But then he had to go and talk about Trump for like whatever, and
Oh,
bad
of course.
It's like, he said he went to the concessions or whatever at that time, but it's like, good grief. The heck would you soil your stuff by getting into politics? Why would you do that? Nobody care, no, I don't get it.
Yeah, or just be in a chat room about a internet radio show, and then somebody starts going off and blah blah blah, and it's like, okay.
Oh yeah, you said I left that show just in time last time.
Yes.
Good thing. That gets wears on me. I mean it's
I feel like saying, you're being very unfair to Mussolini.
know much about Mussolini.
Interesting dude. Tried to bring back the Roman Empire, but all he had to work with was talent. Were Italians.
I don't know what's worse, those stupid musicians that uh, go up there and rant about politics. I don't know if it's what's worse, them or the audience that's going "Woo" when they do it.
Yeah.
I mean, if nobody would respond to them, I don't care what they say. I'm just it's like I don't care what side they're on state. Just sing your stupid song.
Yeah.
Hey, Wendy Lou, we were talking about your cake experience
Oh yeah.
on the show. Oh, I still got some of that cake left.
Oh,
Ooh,
there you go.
it's a good cake. Mm.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things is like I buy ice cream and I put it in the freezer and then I forget. And then later on, like maybe a couple days later, it's like, oh, I have ice cream. It's like a wonderful feeling.
Yeah, it is. And I haven't had ice cream in probably 3 years when I had that um the Blue Bunny, the cheesecake ice cream. And
Ah,
it was so good. It actually tasted like a cheesecake. And it was so good that I just never had ice cream again because it was just like, well, I can't get any better than that.
all right.
And I didn't really want to have it again because it seems like it was so good that it was probably going to kill me.
Ah,
Uh, yeah, we had a good time. I think there was more people at Claudine's house than there were at the theater. The priest did. He really liked it. Wendy, the priest said, because he had his son there and his son's friend, both acolytes at the church, and they were so quiet watching the movie, but he actually told everybody in church the next service in the announcement part at the beginning. He said, "I just want to thank Timmy for his movie, and you made me laugh out loud throughout it, which is accomplishment, you know." And he said how great it was, and I was on my way out. He told me that, or he said that he asked his son what he thought of it, and his son said it was better than Superman. Uh, so that was kind of neat. And then he told me the thing that stood out was the music to him, to which is to me the biggest compliment because to me the music always came first. Apology, and was just kind of morphed out of the music, you know.
yeah.
And then he talked about it again this week, this last Sunday, and he said he loved those psychedelic parts.
Ah,
I'm like, really? That's what Jill in the theater, that was her favorite parts, were Terry's, I guess, the discombobulating. She just couldn't wait to see what was going to happen next.
ah.
So that's good. I think it's good hearing positive feedback.
Yeah.
And I'm not hearing a lot of people saying that they were confused and didn't know what the hell was going on, like every other thing I've ever done. So
Yeah. The problem is I could never, when I watch something, I can't tell you what people are going to do as far as, oh, I couldn't figure that one out. It's just maybe being involved in the creation of it for one, but I just don't.
but I don't want to spoon feed people.
Yeah,
Because
exactly. You got to spell everything
they say
out.
making a good movie isn't saying ABC, it's saying A and C, and they got to kind of figure out B.
Yeah.
It's like you got to let them think a little bit.
Yeah.
She said her friend Alicia really enjoyed the film. Oh, good. Glad to hear that. Yeah, she was nice. Everybody was nice there. I had a couple people from church, and they enjoyed it. In fact, he started watching the last page of Summer before bed, but he was on his phone. He says, "Well, this is a movie. I shouldn't watch it on my phone. I should watch it on TV." So
Yeah.
I said, "Well, maybe I can have a watch party at my house,
Yeah.
and we can watch the last page of Summer. And
There
if
you
you want
go.
to come out, Wendy, to see it, you're more than welcome to. You can see what I did to my sheds and stuff. Um, I finished repainting my sheds and putting windows in front one. It made them look like little cabins, like
Ah,
Lincoln Logs toys. Uh, they look really neat. I ordered a couple nautical lanterns I'm going to put on them, so I'm kind of waiting for that before I like take pictures of it and stuff.
ah,
Yeah, we had pizza, delivered pizza. It
dang.
was so good. And cake. Apology none. First ever apology none dessert. Apology none cake.
Yeah.
Wow. So Gottschalk will be here in about 20 minutes, hopefully.
Was that what? Yeah, he just gave local time, so I didn't
Yeah, if
have
you'd like
any.
to do that, Wendy, I'll get together with, next time I see Tracy and his wife, I'll ask them if they want to do that because I found out they don't live too far. They
Oh,
got lost on the way back.
oh, cute.
Yeah, because it was at night and we had the little motorcycle. So I told them, you better go first because this only goes about 20 miles an hour. So they were in front of me. I don't know if they're kind of going slow on purpose uh, to not lose sight of me, or if they were
Mhm.
just kind of just going slow or not really knowing where they were going. And then they went the wrong way.
Oh, for heaven's
Well, the
sake.
highway's right, just like a block to the right, and they went left. I'm like, well, maybe they know a shortcut I don't. And
It's
next
rare.
next day at church, he's like, yeah, we got lost. I'm like, I thought you did. It's actually a really big neighborhood I live in. I didn't realize it because I was
Yeah.
looking for Lucy in Captain one time. And I just kept going and going and another road and then another. And I didn't even know where I was after a while. And the houses started getting ritzier and more mansiony. And I'm like, where am I?
Ah.
And then uh, it said Old Nassauville Road, which is the highway I live on. I'm like, oh, I wonder where I am. And it was just at the Circle K, which is like just a mile from my house. It's just like real close. I'm like, shoot, I just kind of went in a full circle. I
Ah.
had no idea. It was so weird. It's like one of those weird things, like when did you ever make a fort by putting blankets over the kitchen table and the chairs?
No, I remember using like couch cushions and little pillows and stuff.
No, so you get the idea.
Yeah.
I miss that. My brother and I, we'd do that. We'd like, it was neat.
Because
Making,
you got to have the little pillows on the couch. I don't know what they're really for, but you have to have them. There's just that's the rules.
the dogs like them. They like to put their head on them, or
Yeah.
like, I think they're just decorations.
It's funny we didn't have dogs when I was a kid. Neighbors had a dog up the one side. Neighbor had a dog, and the other ones had cats. So I figured it was enough animals.
Yeah,
Because it's always, if the neighbor's got a dog and it's a nice dog, you can pet the dog and you can play with the dog. And you don't have to like feed it or take care of it.
yeah, that's true. It's like grandkids. You give them a bunch of sugar and then you send them home to their
There you go.
parents. Of course, I'll never have that uh, privilege. I did have the girlfriend I told you about, that
Uh-huh.
one that was part of Apology None before Gracie. She gave me a note out of nowhere, and she commented on my dragon painting. The one for my cover photo.
Ah,
So that was interesting
yeah.
hearing from her. It's been a long time. Well, she could sing like an angel. Had such a wonderful voice. Yeah, when he said, "It's easy to get lost back there." It
Oh,
is.
yeah. That's what I used to love about when I lived in Glendale, California for a while, because I love to take walks, and there was always so much cool older architecture. You go through the residential areas, a lot of houses from the 20s, and even on the main drag, there's still buildings that dated back to the 20s and 30s. So it was always a fun walk.
Yeah. I know Estefan used to post a lot of um, that Hollywood area, the LA, that these landmark signs and old buildings, and they tear it down and put up a Walgreens or some stupid strip mall.
Yeah, I mean, there's still plenty of old Los Angeles if you know where to look.
Yeah, it's just a shame. But Amazon's evil, but maybe that would help subside some of that urban sprawl. The strip malls everywhere, and somebody,
Yeah, well, that's the thing too. I mean, like the shopping mall is gone. I mean, it used to be such a huge thing.
oh, they closed down Regency Square Mall in Jacksonville. I lived near there, and that was when I moved to Florida. When I was 18 or 17. That was I won't say it was my hangout. I didn't stand there loitering, but I did love to go there. I went there
Oh
all
yeah.
the time. I really loved that place, and it's kind
Well,
of sad.
those especially those upscale malls, they used to be that was the place where all the pretty girls hung out.
Yeah. Well, after a while, I don't know, by the late 90s, there was a certain type of people that hang out there in big
Yeah.
giant groups that aren't the pretty blonde girls.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say, and I think that was its downfall.
Yeah, no, that's what happens.
Yeah, and it wasn't as fun to go there after that. And yeah, I finally saw some news thing that and we had another mall that opened up in '89. They called it the Avenues, and it was a two-story mall with a big glass atrium ceiling that went down. It was very bright and airy, and uh, evidently they have a car show there every week or every month,
Wow.
on a Saturday. And if I have enough faith in the pony to take it over the Baines Point Bridge, I wouldn't mind trying to go there once. But I trust it. It's just, I'm also lazy.
Mm.
I don't really want to go all the way. It's going all the way to Jacksonville is a chore. Because it takes me 20 minutes to go from my house just to the freeway because I have to backtrack because I live so far out in the woods.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's
you have
like,
thoughts that you could not put down in the woods.
that's a pretty good Orson Welles.
Yeah. Look at this guy's doing aerobatics on an 80-year-old airplane.
Nice.
Well, actually, it's pretty much a brand new airplane. They'll find something out in the bushes or even in a lake, and you end up replacing damn near the whole plane, but it's still.
Yeah, that plane that I rode in, that B-17, that was basically a flying museum. I read that it cost them like $250,000 a year just to maintain that damn thing.
Oh yeah.
Wendy said my mom was in Missouri this week and they went to Silver Dollar City today.
Mm.
Yeah, I went to Branson once when I was 12, and we went to Silver Dollar City, and it's a hillbilly amusement park, and I
Yeah.
think that Beverly Hillbillies did filmed some of their shows there or something. Uh, but uh, Branson was nothing back then. You had Silver Dollar City, and that wasn't a big deal. It was fun, but wasn't anything huge. And it was basically just a strip with some. It was like a taxpayer strip, but they had like some attractions.
Oh
They had like
yeah.
helicopter rides and different things. But when I went, like 1982, it wasn't like the new Nashville. They didn't. It wasn't where all the
Okay. Because
country
it
stars go
really
to
got
die.
big. What was it? The '90s? It really got big, or the aughts?
I would think '90s, yeah. Uh, Yeah, I would have liked to have gone there then. I would have loved to have seen Ray Stevens and met him because a lot of those people they shake your hand after the show, and I would have loved to have met Roy Clark and Ray Stevens.
Yeah.
Too late for Roy Clark, and boy, Ray Stevens is up there, so it'll probably be too late for that. Um, it's okay. Uh, they were staying in Kimberling City. We used to do deliveries there. My dad, when he drove the semi truck.
Ah.
And when we'd go to Kimberling City, we would drive by Table Rock Lake, which was just, and there was this breathtaking vista that we would always pass by of the lake and the hills. and there was these hairpin turns that we would take in the little kind of mountainous region. And I remember the trailer would be like over both lanes, and it was, those are the two things I remember about Kimberly City.
Yeah.
I don't even really remember the town itself much. I just kind of remember those things. That was fun. That was some of my best memories was, you know, had mixed emotions about my dad, but he did take me on the truck with him all the time when I spent, and so he didn't have to do that. And I appreciate that, Dad,
Yeah.
if you're watching this. I know you're a butthole. I'm just kidding.
All right, Chuck, you got 9 minutes.
That's right. I'm gonna have to pee soon, so. That's weird, that square canopy on that. I guess it was cheaper to make.
It's kind of weird. And the side opening, you hardly ever saw that on planes. Usually it slid back. I guess they had a reason for it. But I noticed that one window does open, so you can. There was the famous General Galland. He flew those in World War II, and he was the top fighter guy. He was the general of fighters, and he had a cigar lighter in the panel of the plane. He had it installed, and so he was flying with a big cigar hanging out like that. And he had, of all things, in Germany, he had Mickey Mouse painted on the side of the plane, right where that little wolf is.
Well, didn't Hitler design Mickey Mouse or come up with him?
Yeah. He spent most of his time designing cars and planes and yelling at people. He liked yelling.
Yeah, and I seem to think he used to draw Mickey Mouse or something.
Yeah.
Is that true? Or I mean, it sounds familiar.
Yeah.
I saw a YouTube video about Walt Disney's storybook house.
Hmm.
Did you hear that?
Huh. I don't think so.
It was where when he first started making money, he had this house built that kind of looked like something from a storybook.
That actually happened a lot. It was in Los Angeles, right? Or
Yeah, that
wherever.
area.
Yeah.
In fact, there's a very pretty view from the house from its pool deck, and you can see a hill and then the LA skyline past the hill. It's really pretty, but
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it was only on like an acre maybe.
Yeah.
It,
Well, that's huge
you
for
know,
here. I mean, you don't
yeah.
have.
So it was a neat place. It looks like there was still, but uh, he moved away when can't remember what they wanted a bigger spread
Wow. Okay.
or something like that. So he ended up getting somewhere else. But I don't know. I thought it was interesting.
Yeah. No, you see that like movie studio executives, they would actually have the Hollywood set designers design their houses, and sometimes they were pretty fanciful.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder. Uh, I mean, would to design a house though, if I mean, I would think they would consult with a real architect. So
Well, I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah. They had
you can't
structural
you
people.
can't put a toilet over this part of the house. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Uh, or they'd say it certainly looks like you had fun doing
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. But no, they had. I mean, they had enough people to actually make the thing so it would stand up. But no, there was this one. There was.
That's a plus.
Yeah, but no, there was this one guy. There was this kind of weird actor named Paul Byrne, and he had a house built up in the hills above Beverly Hills, and it didn't have a kitchen because the guy could not stand the smell of cooking.
Really?
So he had all his meals out, breakfast, lunch, dinner, no kitchen in the house.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah, ended up killing himself in the house.
Boy, did somebody cook some grits or
I
something on the
guess
stove?
somebody had a fucking
They brought in
Coleman
a hot
stove or
plate
some
looking
shit.
behind his back, and they were like cooking grits, or they killed themselves. My mom had a boyfriend, and he was that way about tomatoes.
Mm,
You just couldn't, you couldn't stand the sight of it. You couldn't stand the sight of ketchup, anything that was had to do with tomatoes.
weird. I mean, I kind of hated them as a kid, but as I grew up, I kind of like them.
I've never hated tomatoes. One scared me once. Uh, I was at my aunt's house, my aunt and uncle, and I was going down their driveway next to their tractor and their rear kind of garage building, and I guess there was a rotten tomato, or it was in the driveway, and it scared the shit. I'm like, ah, what the hell
Mm.
was that?
Hey, dude.
I was talking about a tomato, not you guys, Chuck.
Happened to what? Who?
I was
Now
saying
that's
when I was
either a
like 3
space
years old, the
food stick
tomato
or a
scared me.
string cheese.
String cheese.
Ah, darn.
Oh, I've got one of those too. And you gotta be I gotta be careful with them because if I eat like 3 of them, it'll be like a butt plug.
Oh,
And it
that's
won't be
true. It'll stop you up like nobody's
yeah,
business.
well,
That's a good thing I'm only eating two.
Yeah, there you go.
yeah, I
Just
limited
eat
it
some
to
like oatmeal with it or some crap.
Oh yeah, so it binds it all together. Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
well, I make these homemade burritos and that's like Drano.
Ah,
Whatever problem you got, that clear you out.
yeah.
What do you eat those like those frozen ones from the freezer?
No,
or-
I make my own.
Oh,
I get whole wheat tortillas
Ah.
and I'll buy the canned either red beans or the chili beans, the sort of
Now,
chili
do
beans.
you
Yeah,
have you actually figured out how to do the fold so all the crap doesn't fall out of one end?
yes.
yeah.
Because that's a skill. It's like folding an old road map.
Well, no, I just roll it. If it comes out on one end, who cares? It's on a plate. It's not. I'm not like putting it in my lap with
Well,
a plate.
Well, the problem is you end up
Mhm.
having to eat everything like 3 times. You eat the thing and then you have to like take the plate and
No,
then eat it
I
again.
eat my burritos with a fork. Uh, uh, yeah, I don't just. I no, my homemade burritos, they get sloppy. You don't want to just put those in your hand.
Well, the
Uh,
biggest thing I discovered with doing that is you got to make the tortillas really pliable.
Yeah.
So in other words, you need to steam them or something first. You know, not even microwave. You got to like steam them and make them really like pliable, and then they fold over and crease over and everything really
well,
nice.
I do the soft shells anyway. Well, you know what? I do get the hard shells on when I do have taco night, like on a Friday, and I cook up the hamburger. I will get one set of hard shells, but it's like, why even bother? Because it, it they like you try to open them a little bit to put the stuff in, and they just break. Uh, so
Right.
anyway, yeah. So after the beans, I get the enchilada sauce in the can,
Ah.
Mm-hmm.
and then I get shredded cheese, and
We get some green. We always get pork green chili from Stokes. You know,
well, anyway, that's it. That's all of it, and it's just like I said, it's like Drano.
Oh, and Putt says not yet. I don't know if that means what time frame he's talking about.
Like not yet that, but he'll be here in half an hour, or not. He's not well yet, and it'll be like 6 weeks. It sounds like the guy that's supposed to be putting. You remember 3 weeks ago when the guy was sawing and putting in my windows?
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Remember, I remember he was exhausted, and he said he'd come back the next day to finish. He never came back, and it's still got my old windows sitting there, and one of the new windows won't open.
Huh.
And he stood me up 2 Fridays in a row, saying he's going to be here, and he said he wanted to put the windows in my shed that I bought. You know, he wanted to do it, cut the holes and put in the windows, even though and I ended up doing that Saturday. Like, screw it. I didn't want him to do it anyway. It's like, I can put in 12-inch windows in my shed, for fuck's sake. I'm not
Yeah.
not an invalid yet, knock on wood. But I'm glad, because when I do post pictures, I didn't want to say, look what I did with my shed, except this guy put in the window. It's like, fuck, I'm not like a, you know what, I got shit.
Well, they have people say, "Oh, my dad built this house," and no, he didn't. He hired a fucking contract.
Yeah, my cousin Charles, we thought that he had this multi-level, like 4 or 5 level split level house, beautiful place. I loved going there, and it's like, yeah, he built the house, and we're like, he did.
He paid to have it
I
built.
think what happened is he probably was at an architecture consulting thing, and he picked out his plans and helped worked with.
Well,
You
it's
know,
like
I think that
it's like the Jefferson skateboard or whatever the hell. But well, we built the city. You didn't build shit with
didn't build
rock and
shit.
roll. How do you do
They tore
that?
up that city with their stank, uh, hippie, stupid hippies. Except Marty Ballin, he seemed pretty cool. He kind of left the band Jefferson Starship because he was the only one that wasn't a druggie. He was kind of
Ah,
a clean cut guy. If you ever like look at the video for Miracles, it's not really what you'd expect singing. Uh, and Grace Slick was the opposite. I mean, at least she was really bad in alcohol. I think she broke the band up by they were like had a Russian gig and she was just whacked out of her skull drunk and
mm.
she humiliated them on stage. Uh, Sounds funny. And she was on the Smothers Brothers, I think, in the late 60s. And she went on stage in blackface.
Oh, nice.
And it was uh I don't know how controversial it was then.
Probably not
But
much.
it's more like controversial now, but it wasn't that bad. It wasn't like Sambo or anything. You know, it was just brown. She put on brown makeup on her. And so she was interviewed. What happened there? She said she went to this dressing room and they had every color face paint you could think of.
Mm.
And she just decided to paint her face. And I think that's cool. That's something I might have done, but I would have
Mm.
done it blue or something, I think, something different, you know. That'd have been pretty cool coming on stage blue. Hey, do you recognize me, Gottschalk? Tony did.
Mm. Let me open it up in a bigger window. I got you right now. It's on my phone. I'm trying to get my phone hooked up to my computer screen, and
Ah.
okay, so
Yeah, you'd be amazed what they can do with computers nowadays.
yeah. I don't know. You look like a black car on a racetrack to me.
Well, I guess you haven't seen the film yet.
Probably hasn't.
No, I have not. Well, I've got it downloaded.
You had
Well,
it
that's
downloaded
just,
for like 3 weeks now.
Yes, I know. Busy on the weekends.
Well, you can only watch it on the weekend.
Probably.
It's only like an hour and 13 minutes.
You know what?
You might
I'll
want to
watch.
download it on the
I
way
will
out.
watch it this coming weekend, and we will discuss it next Tuesday.
All right. And Pud hasn't watched it either,
oh,
as far
come
as I know.
on. No. But no, I mean, Timmy, they got the best animation in the Paris doohickey, and so he's going to be
Yeah,
big in
Paris.
France, just like Jerry Lewis.
Sweet.
Oh, that clown movie. The day the clown died or something.
So I'm trying.
There's a Jerry Lewis movie he made in the 70s and he like wouldn't let anybody see it.
Oh, right, because it was so bad. But Jerry Lewis was on a episode arc of Wise Guy, the Ken Wall TV series, and he played a serious character. Wasn't funny. I mean, wasn't there? I mean, there was like no comedy in it.
I don't think I've ever seen him do comedy. It seems like all his characters are serious. What was that? Is that Orange Kool-Aid?
Tang.
Really?
Ah,
You bought Tang?
Yeah, they don't make Tang in the powder anymore. You get this little squirt bottle, and
okay.
sometimes you can put too much in there, and it's like it's almost like taking a shot of whiskey. One eye goes, you know,
So did it taste like you remember?
yep,
Is it
it's
good?
exactly like it. Yep.
Well, I'll have to try it. But I got to tell you, I think the best part of my Tang, from what I remember, was like putting the powder on my finger.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
And, then you put it on there, and it was really bitter. It was actually kind of really bitter, and it was like,
Yeah, but it was good. I used to like that. So it's not in the powder anymore, huh? I
no,
bet
this
you
is
can get a powder on Amazon.
how old would that be? Because I don't think they've made Tang disappeared for a while.
Yeah, but they still make it different places.
But
It's
you
like
know,
it's like on Amazon, you can get great Tootsie Rolls. There's things you can't buy in Walmart and stuff.
Mhm.
All right, I'll be right back.
I wonder if do they still make the Kool-Aid without sugar in it? That's
Yeah, that's all I buy.
okay, because it's a
I
tiny
didn't know they
packet.
still made the I didn't know they made the Kool-Aid with the sugar.
Because it's like a size of a postage stamp, makes 14 gallons. Oh, okay,
Yeah, that's what I use. You got to add the sugar to it.
yeah,
You got to put a whole pound of sugar in there. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
You know
Well,
what? You know what? Deborah Milstein, when she was over here and I went out of town, she found one of my Kool-Aids and decided to make it. And I'm like, oh, you made Kool-Aid. And I'm like, she didn't add the sugar. She didn't know she had to add sugar. And boy, she's like, it wasn't very good. I'm like, yeah, you gotta add sugar.
So what was that you sent me the other day, Tony? That picture of Lauren's neckline.
That needs an explanation.
Well, I saw the neckline, but I didn't know if we were concentrating on the $75,000 pendant.
Yeah, God, I could park a Rolls Royce in front of your house and you'd be talking about the fucking
Oh, no, trust
green
me, I took
tree
note-
air freshener hanging on the damn.
Oh, trust me, I
rearview
took
mirror.
notice.
Okay, but yeah, but, you know, I've put $1 million on that price on there, man. I literally
The only
have.
thing I didn't want to do is start talking about, Lauren's, line, and we were on something else. So.
Oh, okay. But no, the heart, the heart pendant in the movie Titanic, which I'm sure you never saw, but that was actually a tanzanite that they used, so that's why.
What was that? The heart of the sea or the heart of the
Heart
ocean?
of the ocean,
Yeah. We get Celine Dion to sing about it in the
yeah. There
background.
you
go. Like I said, she friended me on Facebook.
Yeah.
She didn't say much on Facebook, but she friended me.
Yeah, she did. I think Instagram's kind of their main one. But I send her like I'll take screen grabs of the YouTube chat and send it to her on Messenger.
Mm-hmm. You're part of the world burning down yet, there, Tony?
Nah, this is nothing like Rodney King or who was that other guy? Fentanyl Floyd.
Oh, George Floyd.
Yeah. But yeah, apparently, well, and I'd never even heard of this. There's a company called Waymo, and they have unmanned self-driving taxis, and you get a phone app, and you can call for one, and it'll sort of bumble its way over to you with no driver, and they managed to call 5 of them in there, and then set them all on fire. And what was really fun is they burned to the ground. They were unrecognizable. Like normally when a car burns, you still see the body shell, it's all rusty. Yeah. No, these were gone.
Yeah.
The whole thing's like made out of aluminum or plastic or God knows what.
Yeah,
I'd never seen a car
all over Phoenix.
Oh, really? Okay, because I've never seen one out here. Like the Johnny Cab from that movie back in the 80s. But it doesn't even have like a fake driver in it. It's just that somebody had the bright idea of doing that. But basically, the only footage I saw was from that one freeway underpass that's right next to City Hall.
And the cops are hiding underneath of it?
Yeah. And the National Guard, and they're gonna. What's funny is the National Guard is like almost all Hispanic too, so it's like
they're all like. Yeah, to get them there that quick, they had to come from like local, armories.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So what else is happening?
I don't know. It's just more and more depressing.
Any new moves at work there? Or?
No, thank goodness, no.
I was hoping maybe they go back to like 6 nights a week again, so at least you get another day.
Yeah, well, I'm getting my Social Security, so it works out.
So you're okay in life. All right.
Wish it was right on the ragged edge.
Well, I mean, I didn't say you were doing fantastic, but you know, you need to be doing fantastic, Tony.
I know it's the I cannot envision a scenario right now where I am ever able to own a car again. Basically, I would have to hit the lottery or a miracle would have to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of
Helen Keller miracle.
yeah. There you go.
Then you got Timmy who owns like 5, 6 cars. You know?
Yeah. Well, everybody around here has like 5 cars.
Well,
I mean, and then the assholes will throw a party and then they'll invite everybody over and nobody thinks where they're going to park.
well, when I was with Gracie, she had every car she ever had was repoed.
Yeah.
And I had one that my grandma gave me, and that was our only transportation. And Gracie would take it and leave me by myself in a rural area where I wouldn't have if something happened, Josh and I would have been up Chick Creek. I mean,
Yeah.
we had no wheels. And she'd spend all day on the beach or whatever. And so, I live in a rural area. It's good to have 2 cars. 'Cause
Oh,
you never
definitely.
know.
No, definitely.
And the Mustang, I don't consider it transportation. It's an investment, and
It's a showpiece.
yeah, it's a toy and an investment. I mean, if I need to get from A and B, I don't think about the pony. It's more like take it to car shows, right? I take it to church. I got to keep it. I got to drive at least once a week.
Yeah.
Oh, Tony, you were right about that power steering. Sure as hell, it was that hose on the bottom was disconnected. That when it hangs out.
Yeah. Because for some reason, every Mustang I ever see that's out in the road, the whole thing it's like hanging down and too close to the
I
road.
don't know why they do that. And so I did. Well, I had these shorts I bought, I guess, a year ago. These light green shorts, and they were like pressed and in perfect condition. And I had those on going to church, and that's when I saw that I had to fix that thing, and I had to get under the car. I put cardboard down. I'm like, I'm gonna ruin these shorts, but I managed to pull it off without ruining the shorts. Can you believe it?
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of coming up toward your way tomorrow there, Timmy, but not close enough.
Where are you going?
St. Augustine.
Yeah, that's quite a ways. That's like
I was figuring about probably a good hour.
It's like a 90-minute drive from here.
Yeah.
So when
But
you just like going somewhere, what do you usually grab? The Scion?
Yeah. I kind of go back and forth a little bit. I don't like any of them to sit for too long, but yeah, if I need to go to the store, I'll usually grab the Scion. It's the zippy car,
Yeah.
easy to park.
That's the main thing.
I made so many trips to Lowe's this last couple months that I use the truck a lot for monkey bars and getting all that stuff.
Because I don't get it around here because everybody, I mean, you live out in the, you're a homeowner and you live out in the country. So therefore a pickup truck is pretty much mandatory. But here in suburbia, people with these crew cab trucks, and you see them at the supermarket trying to park the damn thing. Why not get something you can actually drive and park?
Yeah, when I take it to Walmart, I'll find a place that's got 2 parking spaces, one beside one in front of the other, and I'll swing a U-turn and go to where the front is facing out, where I don't have to back up.
I have to do the same thing with my truck. When we go to Walmart or Target, I usually have to park further out in the parking lot and take.
That's what I do. I do the last row, the very last row, and I'd have it where it's a little further walk, but once I get in the truck, there's no having to look behind me. I just zip out of there.
Oh man.
Try to find a parking space next to one of their trash cans so I can throw out my trash.
Oh yeah. That's why, really, if I have my druthers, I just have a Miata again, just so I don't have to deal with all that
They're nice. It's
bulk.
nice having a little car.
Yeah.
Uh, sometimes I wondered if something happened and I could only keep one, which one would I keep? That's a tough one.
You probably have to keep, just for practical reasons, you probably have to keep pickup.
The truck, yeah,
Yeah.
probably would have to. I do appreciate the truck on the road trips. It's really nice on the road trips. Hey, the Scion's really good on the road trips too.
I mean, I had little cars for a while, and I've had my truck for just over a year now, and I appreciate the truck a lot more, especially when you got to go to Home Depot and pick up, 500 pounds of, sandbags and.
It's just that situation just never arises for me.
Yeah. Yeah, you got a nice truck, gosh, Sean.
Hmm? That one just kind of fell in my lap. I don't know what.
What do you mean?
Which, I hope it didn't. I
I
hope he didn't get hurt.
Like when
I went on Father's Day last year. I just was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go look at trucks because I always wanted to have a truck, and I've never really had a truck. And we pulled in there, and it was so last year was 24, so it was a 23. I let somebody else eat the depreciation on it, but it only had 7,200 miles on it. The guy traded it back in, but he did all sorts of work to it. He put the rhino lining in the bed.
Oh.
He put the side steps on there. He put the UV tinting on there. A couple other things on there. But they brought out a 2024 truck that was the exact same truck. They wanted like $65,000 for the truck, and they only wanted 41 for the truck with 7,200 miles on it. And it was already and because it was so new and had low miles on it, it was a pre-certified, so all the warranties and everything hung in there. So I was like, this is a no-brainer,
Yeah, I had mine was too. It came on like a whim. It's like I think I'm gonna get a Silverado, and I don't know why, because I've normally been kind of a Dodge guy, even though I've never really had one. But I just some reason I was thinking of Silverado, and
Well, that's what I got. I got a Silverado Custom Edition.
yeah, it's good. I like your truck. Mine's got the bed liner, but it didn't have the side steps or anything. But no, mine was kind of high mileage, but it was only a year old. It was an 18. And I bought it in 19.
Yeah.
And
So that was mine.
yeah, but mine had like, I think it had about 40,000 miles on it. It was high mileage for what it was. But shit, I paid for it 26K out the door. And it had a 2-year warranty on it. So I don't like the computer. The touch display went out after a couple years, and it was like almost $1,000 to replace that damn thing.
Boy.
If it goes out again, screw it. I'm not gonna work. Oh, I bought a speedometer for the Mustang. It's like a 3 3/8 speedometer, and it's got a housing,
Oh.
and I guess it changes colors. I've got to wire it up and figure out where to put it. It's a little bigger than I thought it would be, so I don't know if it'd look good on top of the dash, which is where I was initially thinking.
You mean a tachometer?
No, it's a speedometer. It's a GPS speedometer.
Oh, okay. I think didn't the
Because
car already
I
have
think
it?
because I put 17-inch wheels on the car, I
Oh.
don't think it registers properly the speed.
Well, yeah, they do that. That's why on the inside door frame, you have the manufacturer's, recommended tire sizes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So they
well, I mean, I
didn't-
knew it wasn't. Shoot, those tire sizes back then were so tiny. I mean, the wheels. I've got no problem with the size of the wheel. Well, it came with 17, so I just
Yeah.
replaced it with that so I could keep the same tires. But yeah, you go down the road and you're going 40 and it says 70. It's kind of
Ah,
like that
okay.
kind of thing.
Well, yeah, there's a
So,
little gear in the transmission that you can swap out if you can find the right one with the right number of teeth. But you got to figure out what rear end ratio you got, and then
sounds like work. I'm not that mechanically inclined. There's certain things I can do, but transmissions and
there
differentials, I
might
never got into.
be on one of the bolts that holds the differential in the rear end housing. There might be a little tag, but if it's been worked on or replaced, they might have lost the tag. but just one of the bolts would go through the little a tag with a hole in it, and that would say what the ratio is. And well, as far as the tire sizes, it's the outer diameter that makes a difference. So you could look that up for the brand of tire that you got, what the outer diameter is.
Yeah, but I mean, if I've got big wheels on it, on a car that was made for small wheels, that means that the tires would almost be just tiny. I don't have really anything on the tires to make up for that.
Well, they are. I mean, they're low profile. I mean, the tires that came on the car were probably 78 profile, and these are like what, 40, 45. So the overall diameter would be the same. Because I imagine that car probably came with 14-inch tires from the factory.
Oh,
So you just compare the outer diameter of the two.
There was an older guy who had a 69 Camaro, really nice, and he parked it next to mine at one of the shows, the Cars and Coffee. And his was really low profile. I said, well, your car is really low. And he says, yeah, they had it lowered, dropped. I hate it. He says he wants to make it like mine, where it's supposed to be.
Yeah, it's just, unless you live on some place where everything is just perfectly flat, it's just too big a pain in the ass. Because people out here, they drive lowered cars, and the roads here are in shitty shape. And then we got train tracks to cross and all that. You always hear them go, going through intersections. It's like, dude.
Like, yeah, that guy with that stupid Dakota next door, that loud damn thing. That thing's a low, on the ground, kind of. It's just like, what are you, 16? Fudge.
Have they been any better, your neighbors?
Yeah, he put in a new shed. I'm like, where the hell is he put? And he put the shed further behind me, like more toward where the mud pit is. And so I'm hearing the saws and stuff now on that shed, and it's not near as nerve-wracking as it was before. So that's a little bit better. The guy with the diesel truck still does it, idles it, but he goes in a different part of the yard now. He's a little further away. It helps a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. Any little bit helps, and at least he's aware of it now. So he tried to at least do something. So
Yeah,
uh,
that's what I want.
the motorcycle. Is
Just
that one that's made in India?
Yeah.
Actually, we gotta get. Tony needs to get one of those new bikes with the big, huge tires that has the little motor on it. You just ride on it and go down the sidewalk.
What is that, street legal? What is that? What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
there's like a bicycle. I see kids and stuff all over town here with them. But they got like the really huge fat tires on like a bicycle looking thing. And then it's got like a little electric motor on it, that just pushes you along so you don't have to.
Well, Tony pedals his ass around town, and it's getting him in shape.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like me with the push mower. I'll never get a riding mower just because it's the only
You
exercise
don't
I
live on
really.
a golf course.
It is a big yard. I had to mow it 2 days ago, and boy,
Yeah.
or was it yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. I mowed, or last night. It takes an hour and 15 minutes to mow the front yard, and then probably another 20, 25 minutes to weed eat everything, to trim it. It's a big yard, but it keeps it kind of further away from the street.
I have a guy that does that.
Well, aren't you la-di-da?
Yeah. See those ones? I mean, that's the one with the chrome version, which is actually, since I don't have a covered place to park, I probably wouldn't want one like that. Just the regular painted one. But you see those on sale, brand new for like $4,000. Yeah, $4,000 for a brand new motorcycle with a 3-year warranty. You can't really beat that.
Damn, that's what I paid for my little Ciron. Why wouldn't you? Was the chrome deteriorate or something under the sun?
I don't think it handle it. It takes the exposure to weather as well as paint does.
Yeah, chrome starts getting that bubbly look to it or something.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, the bumpers on the Mustang, they get those little rust speckles,
Yeah.
and you can get rid of them with vinegar and tinfoil. I did that once and kind of
Isn't
took
that what
them out.
chicks use on? And no, that's something else.
Ew.
Uh, so what else is happening in life?
Trying to think. I'm gonna go to Missouri in next month
Hmm.
All
for a
right.
week.
I'm going to Arizona for a week in August.
Now, when I go to Missouri, I can still do the show, and I always do.
Yeah. Well,
Steve
Steve's
goes
on
out of
his.
town and he can't do it.
Well, he's on his. He's. Well, he was on the road. I don't know if he's gotten in yet or not, because they went up to Cleveland or Boise or
Who
some damn
knows?
place. I have no
Up
fucking idea.
north.
The East Coast is just a big blur to me. I've never been anywhere near it, so you could say, "Oh, I went to Oz." Okay, good.
It's kind of neat. There's neat places on the East
I think I
Coast.
logged it. I think I came on the show one time in Arizona
Yeah.
for a
I
short
think you
while.
did, yeah. I did too. I've been on the show here in Arizona. Uh,
And then you left for dinner.
Yeah.
did I?
Yes.
I bet you came back to it, I think.
I think I did. I remember
Yeah.
that. I wonder if that was the same. I wonder if that was the same time I was there where that girl, that contractor girl, gave me that big grapefruit.
See, I like this. I like this guy's channel. I always watch his videos, but he's always driving on the wrong side of the road.
Oh, he probably lives in Nebraska or something.
You sure you just don't got his camera inverted? You know, the other way? No, that one time that I was on the show and you were in Arizona, you and some guy were walking down to a restaurant down on the corner, and I don't think you came back on that one.
Hmm.
Yeah, there was a guy named Gary. He's another kind of contractor. They got rid of him. He reminded me of Radar from MASH.
Hmm.
Kind of a nerdy guy with a real high voice, almost had a non-existent voice. It's like, "We're a small
Oh,
place."
that one you came back on the show that was like the next year you were there when I sent you to that Mascaderos.
That's
And
when I
then
went to
then
Gary.
you came back on the show and started telling us about how the women had makeup on and
Yeah, they were dressed like witches and they had like a cauldron.
Oh,
It's so
nice.
weird.
were the tacos good though? That's the
They were messy, but they were good. Yeah, it was good. It was this more of a weird experience. I was really looking for
sit down cantina
a
style.
sit down place where you could get just a good Mexican dinner. Now that was good. I mean, it was more cheap. It was kind of like you get the styrofoam
Yeah.
container. But it
Now
was
I
good.
wonder. You were talking about sit downs and that. I wonder if I could ever find that again, because I don't know if it's my tastes have changed, but I've never had a cheeseburger taste as good as they did when I was a kid.
No.
And if it's just because,
Well, I
my,
don't
my
know if I
taste
would.
buds are worn out, or I have no idea.
I disagree. I go to Chili's. I went to Chili's. You get a burger there. They're good. It's like and it takes you a week to eat it. Me, I can't. I got to take half of it home.
No.
It's been a couple years since I went there, but it
So
was
I can
like
only eat
under
about
20
4 of them.
bucks for a full meal. It was like the burger's so
That's
big.
the damn thing about it. But I guess because I don't really think of chain restaurants when I think of something like that.
Well, we got two places here in Ocala that we got a place called Jaws Jumbo Burgers, which are really good. But they're huge. It's another one of those. Then we've got a new place that opened up here in Ocala called Smalls.
Biggie Smalls.
And they're not like small Crystals or White Castle style burgers. They're a little bit big. They're not as big as regular burgers, but they're bigger and they're actually quite good. I like them.
Well, they got to be better than Crystal. That stuff is this shit. Nasty
Because
shit.
for me, the cheeseburger, it's got to be big enough to where I can actually taste the meat.
Yeah, I don't like. I'm not a big fan of these smash burgers where you pay.
That's the
double
big
price
thing
for,
out
like,
here. Yeah, that's what I've been
That's
trying
kinda how I
lately.
make them. I like to make my burgers kind of so thin that they fall. That's how they fall apart. Now, when Captain's out there and he's eating his own poop, I'm like, I start to yell at him, and I'm thinking, well, there's people that eat Crystal burgers, and it's the same thing.
But see, I grew up on Crystals, and I'm okay with Crystals.
Ugh.
But I haven't had a Crystals burger in probably 6 years, 5, 6 years. So
And restaurant prices are like everything else. I mean, they just jumped up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, you got a damn $30 an hour minimum wage there.
I don't. Well, they want to do that for specific industries, which is weird. It's not. It's never my industry.
Wouldn't it be funny if they introduced a bill, $30 an hour for specific industries, and they pass it? It turns out that's a corporation. It's called Specific Industries, and they're like, that's the one that the congressman, like his son works there or something, you know. Oh, it's so yeah, yeah. I owe you an apology, Chuck. You were right about the Elon thing
What's that?
last week, saying how he went ballistic.
Yeah.
And he had a fist fight with the Secretary of Treasury
Yeah, as you do.
and had a black eye.
Sweet.
Well, he's actually deleted some of the more incendiary tweets.
Well, he was interviewed by, I guess, 60 Minutes or one of them people. And he
Well,
was
I-
about to, they looked like he was about to cry. His eyes are red. And they
Well,
said,
I kind of understand his position. He did all that work. He did all that work with Doge. Actually, I don't know how much work he did, but he did all the things, saved all this. Found all this. Waste spending, pork barrel spending, cut it out, and then they turn around and pass a budget bill that pretty much ate all that right back up. So it was like,
well, then the Doge cuts weren't in the budget bill. And there was like a clause in the budget bill that said that states can't have regulations on AI for like 4 years or something like that. And yeah, I'd have been pissed off too. I mean, I didn't care for the way he handled things, but no, he was like interviewed and he was on the verge of tears almost. They said, if you could take all that back, would you? And he said, yes. I think he was, I mean, maybe he was on drugs. They said, he's got a
Yeah,
drug
he
problem.
does. He takes ketamine for one thing.
Yeah.
but then on the other hand, I sit there and listen about Elon Musk and how he's never paid child support to his 50 different children with
Yeah.
50 different women.
Yeah. I think that, he's always scared me. I knew things weren't going to work out with him very well. He's always, you know what? It was the H-1B thing that,
Yeah, that was.
soured me on him when he started banning people that disagreed with him on X because of the H-1B and all that. I'm like, this guy's unhinged. And it could be dangerous potentially. But I gotta give Trump a little bit of credit for keeping the high road in the whole situation. Instead of getting down in the mud with him, he's just like, yeah, he's got some problems. I hope he does okay. Just kind of kept it one-sided. Yeah,
I mean,
that's what
Trump
they
is
do.
still out there, but I think Trump is still censored by his aides and
Well,
consultants.
thank God he's got some consultants that are telling him to do the right thing then. And that he's, because boy, he could have really gotten in the mud with this whole thing, and not the good mud.
Well,
Yeah,
anyway,
that's true.
enough of politics.
Yeah, the hell
Something
with that. No, it's just when I was the census the year before I was born, the United States had 180 million people. And when I was a kid, I never noticed a shortage of people.
When you were born, there was 180 million people.
Yeah, the 1960 census, 100.
Shit, I thought that, I thought like in the 90s or something, it was like 200 million people.
What is it, 388 million
Something
now?
like that now, yeah.
Wow.
Almost double.
Is it true that China didn't ever have like a billion people, that they've only got like a couple 100,000 people? And that
Well,
they
they all
don't
get the
think
same
I don't
name,
think
so it's
they
hard
know.
to tell.
China and India are the only two countries, I believe, that have a billion plus, according to.
Yeah, India's
I-
actually
I
got more now.
believe it with,
Actually,
with India, with just the amount of film festivals that they have, I think if you just look at all the people in the film festivals, that's probably a billion people. I'm actually just starting to not submit to the, because there's so many of them there, and I can't go to any of them. I don't want to travel anywhere. I've got to go 24 hours to get to.
yeah. Because I've never been in a plane for more than like 5 hours, 5.5. And
Now
you,
to
you hear,
Hawaii, California.
yeah. I mean, you hear stories about people actually getting like blood clots and dying from sitting in the airplane chair for freaking 16 hours or whatever.
That
Well,
was
hell,
what was
they,
nice about the 747 is they had at least a little place where you could stand up.
Yeah.
You know, you could just kind of it wasn't a lounge anymore. I mean, it wasn't neat like the 70s, but it did have a little area you could just stand and look out the window.
well, I mean, the flight we're taking, to go to Arizona in August, we're flying from Orlando straight to Phoenix, so that's
Mm.
going to be I think that's a 5 hour and 14-minute flight or 15-minute flight. So
I like those. I used to get Southwest because you could get direct flights, and then it's like you buy the ticket for the direct flight, and then like a couple days later, they're like, "Oh, it's not direct anymore."
yeah, well,
It's like, well, that's the
that's
only reason I bought it from you.
well,
Oh,
that's
yeah,
what we're
we
on
sold
Southwest.
that plane. Sorry.
Well, the good thing about Southwest is even if it's not, even if there's a connection, sometimes you can just stay on the plane in the connection.
Or not.
Right? I said sometimes.
Well, we stayed on the same plane. We had a connection last year on Southwest. We stayed on the same plane, but they still made everybody get off.
Oh, that sucks.
And then
Well, I did that on Maui once. And what happened was it was just a, supposedly, stop, let passengers off, get passengers on and go. But they didn't like how the nose wheel tire looked. I said, yeah, it looks like, cord showing through, and all that. Was one of those big band-aids on it. I said, no, that ain't gonna work. So we got to sit in the plane in Maui for like, God, it must have been, because they had to fly in another tire and then swap it out.
the worst one I ever had is we got on the plane, we pushed away from the gate in Detroit. And we pushed away from the gate, and then a big, huge thunderstorm came through, and we sat out on the tarmac for like 2.5 hours. And they had like no air on or anything, and it got a little warm on that plane.
And there was that big fat lady next to you with the hairy armpits that didn't.
Luckily, it was my dad and my two kids, so I was all right.
Oh, I worse. You'd heard that before. It was my first leg of my trip to Australia. It was supposed to be in Dallas, but there was a storm, so they diverted us to Austin. And we had to sit on the tarmac in that plane for 6 hours. And
I don't know why they make you sit on the plane.
I know. And finally, they said after 6 hours, the pilot even ordered pizzas, and after the 6 hours that they wouldn't let us see the plane, they were like, well, the pilots they've already logged in too many hours, so we had to stay there all night. And that means getting up and having to fly at 6 in the morning. And all the stuff I wanted to do in Sydney, that ruined all that. Because when I got to Sydney, instead of it being the daytime, it was the middle of the night. So I still walked around the opera house and all the balconies and stuff and looked in the windows, but I didn't get to do anything.
Hmm.
And when I got there, the guy that had the van to take me to the hotel, and it overheated and broke down. And then he's like, "What is that smoke?" It's smoking. And I'm like, "Well, it smells like water. I think you got a hose leak." And then it went to this old hotel, like Art Deco hotel. And then I want to take a bus and go to see the opera house. And so I go out and I'm taking a bus that I think is going to the opera house. And I asked the guy, I said, is this going to the opera house? He's like, oh no, you want the Circle K. That's the bus in front of us there. And he actually gunned it, this city bus, and we went in front of it and cut it off right in traffic and just stopped and cut the bus off. And they had me change bus. Isn't that cool?
It is. Timmy, I envy you on that point. You visited a couple places in the world. I've been to other countries, but I was in other countries on military time, and most military bases are not in the most lovely parts
Yeah,
of
you got the
countries.
24-hour clock instead of the 12-hour clock and stuff for
Yeah.
the military time. Yeah.
Looks like I've been to Thailand, but I was in some remote military airfield out in the middle of the jungle, where cobras are, slithering across. I was in Honduras, which I don't know if there's any good part to Honduras, but
Yeah, I went to Honduras on one of the honeymoon cruise. We went to the Roatan
Well,
barrier island.
in Thailand, I think dealing with the cobras is probably less dangerous than dealing with the lady boys.
Yes, probably.
So did you really see cobras?
Yes.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, they actually have a drink, an alcoholic drink that actually they put cobra venom in and you drink it.
Yeah, but I mean, did you actually see them out in the wild though?
Yes.
What was that like? What did it just freak you out?
It's just a big snake. I mean, they didn't rear up and do their hood or anything.
Ooh.
You just see them slithering across the ground there.
Wow.
Yeah, you don't go approach and mess with cobras.
There is one video on YouTube. I don't know if it was in India or something. But there was this little village, and this snake handler was called to this village because there was a cobra caught in a fishing net there or something. So he got the cobra free, and then he was feeding it water out of a Mountain Dew bottle.
Mm.
And it was funny just watching this cobra drink this. I mean, he was really drinking. He was about dying of thirst, I guess. And then you could see all the villagers all gathered around, and he let the snake go, and it went on its way. It was a neat video.
And then, spending a little time in Canada with the military, but Canada is just like, the America's attic, it's just
Well, didn't you go to Europe and stuff?
flew through it, didn't, when I went to the Sinai. But again, it was through military bases. It wasn't through,
So you didn't like go to Oktoberfest and
Yeah, they didn't say we're going to fly this C5 and into Mandelheim or whatever, and we're going to be there for 5-6 days. You guys can go out and enjoy the English
Oh, they did? That's
countryside.
cool.
No, they didn't. That's what I'm saying.
Oh.
We got off the C5. They refueled. We were allowed to get off long enough, stretch our legs and stuff, get in, and get back on the plane, and we were off again.
Oh. Well, to be fair, Perth isn't much different than, wasn't too much different than America. They're very Americanized there.
So you
And
talked about
basically, my friends and I, the guys I stayed with for a couple of weeks, we would just like go to the Subway or whatever and buy sandwiches, and then we'd rent movies and just watch movies and drink beer. So it's something you can just do here pretty
Yeah.
much.
we're thinking about doing a cruise here, out of the Port Canaveral. They got like little 3-day cruises that just shoot over to like Nassau and come back or something.
For Alaska,
No, not Alaska.
that would be a fast ship to go
No,
out.
I'm saying over to Nassau, in the Bahamas.
I know. I was just picturing going from a Florida port to Alaska in 3
Yeah,
days.
go all the way, go down through the, canal, and
Yeah.
you know what? I bet they have it though.
I never thought about actually being on the canal like in a cruise ship. Do they do that? Would that be even prudent to have a cruise ship that you'd have to do that? I can't imagine.
That's why for the most part you have cruise ships on the West Coast and the East Coast.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the ones that do the Alaska cruises leave primarily out of Seattle, out of the port of Seattle. And
I think that's something I would like to do someday.
we'll go.
I don't like going by myself.
You're not getting any younger.
I know. I
Go on the Disney cruise.
I don't want to give them a single dime of my money.
I just said that specifically to hear where you were going to go with that.
No, the
You
only
know,
one
a
I'd be
movie
interested in is that sometimes because they'd have sailing ships that you can take a cruise on. So you're not like just sitting in a hotel room that rocks from side to side. It's
Hi,
like,
Laura.
Hi, Laura.
Since everybody else has abandoned us.
yeah.
Well, we went. How you doing, Laura? We went on my honeymoon cruise was on a Norwegian, which is a very upscale cruise.
Yeah. Actually,
Yeah.
Nora, they just had the ratings for the the cruise ship lines this morning on the news out of Orlando, and Norwegian is like the #1 rated cruise line.
I mean, they were nice. There's a lot of teak wood and glass and stuff, but the thing is the foods was so frou-frou that it just sucked. I remember they had a food court there with all these different restaurants that you could go to, and they had their menus outside, with the anus pounders and the chicken with a saw, all that stuff. But it was all stuff that nobody could pronounce. And
Nice.
not only me and Gracie just kept going from one to another. Nobody could go in there. Everybody was just like, what the? It was just, I ended up going to like a vegetarian restaurant, just having spaghetti with no sauce or anything.
Yeah, I want to get on a cruise ship and go have a cheeseburger. That's and fries. Maybe some onion rings.
Well, the Carnival cruises do. So there was one time where they had a barbecue on deck with hot dogs and hamburgers. That was really good. And any time of day or night, you can order. They'll like microwave a little pizza, like a frozen pizza, and you can have that. So you won't starve, but
Well, that's everybody I've talked to that's been on cruises. They said there's like 3 things to do: eat 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Go gamble if you can find, an open slot machine or open poker table. And they said, the decks of these cruise ships, you get pictures, you're like, oh, that's so nice, But I understand they're just absolutely crowded, beyond belief.
not really, not in my experience. But maybe it's because it was the upscale liner. But
My parents did the Alaska cruise; they loved it. That's from Laura.
oh, Laura said, yeah, I would like to try to do that one day. But
The one me and my wife had talked about, what we want to do is we want to do like that 14-day one that goes all around the British Isles.
yeah, but then you're in Britain. That's the problem.
Yeah, but you're on a cruise ship.
No, I would. You know what? I would do. What I'd like to do. I mean, the last one's cool.
Yeah,
I would love to do like a river cruise down the Rhine or something.
yeah.
think
They
that
have
would be-
those Viking. I think they're called Viking cruises, or
What do you have to carry, like the shield and the
Yeah, you
horn?
gotta
yes, you wear the the helmet with the horns
That would
on
be
it.
kind of cool. But no, when we on our honeymoon, the first thing we did.
Well, I don't want to know about the first thing you did.
No, it
so-
wouldn't. It's not gross, but it did involve the bed. It's like, I went to go to bed and looked like a full bed, And what they did is they put 2 twins together and they didn't hook them, and I fell between the beds.
Oh, nice.
Oh, you crab hold it. You crab hold it.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
No, it was fun. It was a neat. It was a great. Yeah, we didn't want to leave. In fact, we took pictures flipping off the camera when it was time to go back home.
Well, guys, I'm gonna go fill up on some more Tang real quick. I'll be right back.
All right.
Keep going.
Yeah, the only I've never been on a cruise, but I've spent a couple weekends on the Queen Mary, and it's really cool. I mean, it's just is right up my alley, and everything's all classic and original and wood and all that stuff, and you don't have to go anywhere.
Oh, did you get a stateroom there and stuff?
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah.
So it's kind of like a floating hotel then.
Yeah, and you don't have to go anywhere. You just hang out and
We went on board once and we just we didn't do the paid tour, so we didn't get to see the whole boat, but I do remember going into a barber shop there. They had like a barber shop. It's about all I remember. So I've been on the boat ship. I guess it's a ship, not a boat.
yeah. The
Yeah.
boat is-
So that was kind of neat.
The problem is you can go below decks, but the clowns ripped out all the boilers and 2 of the 4 engines. And so there's just a lot of empty space. Back when they first set up the Queen Mary for tourists, they had a Jacques Cousteau, ocean experience or some crap, and they put it in what was the boiler room. And that lasted about a minute. I actually got to
They
see it
shouldn't
one of the
put
first time I visited back in the late 70s. But and then they ripped that out. Now it's just all empty. It's like shit.
Yeah, they shouldn't put clowns in charge of those things. Well, I think when we went up the gangplank, it wasn't at the top of the ship. I remember we did go into the hole, the black part, to get in.
Yeah,
Wendy
that's where
said,
the passengers generally would embark. We wouldn't like way up on top. It had the big doors on the side just above the water line.
right, and Wendy said the cruise we went on in Greece was really nice. That's cool. When I was in Athens, I did it was a ferry boat, but it looked like a cruise ship. It was a big, it looked like a kind of a small cruise ship, but it was red. And I wish I would have taken some more pictures. I don't know what the hell's wrong with me. Uh, we were in this kind of a lounge area, this kind of big commons area, uh, with this all these windows and these like just different loungers everywhere, and it was kind of a neat memory. And I wish I'd have taken some more pictures because I made a photo album of the trip,
Ah,
and I'm like, I remember how neat it was looking out the subway window when we were going there to that island, and
yeah.
just seeing all the, and I was looking for pictures or video that I might have taken, and it's like, I guess I didn't.
Well, you got to kind of strike a balance. You don't want to spend your whole trip with your nose in the damn phone because you
Yeah,
see
but
people do
if
that.
I'm on a ferry boat that's going an hour to the island and I'm sitting there in the lounge doing nothing, you think I would have taken a couple pictures of that. I wouldn't, it wouldn't have detracted me from doing any. Oh, and then I was on the deck and I was sunbathing on the top part of the boat. And I decided to get up. And just as I got up, there was a woman on the deck below was taking a picture of my feet.
Ah,
And I was just getting up, and I was like, I think it was awkward for both of us. And I'm just like, well, I hope you got your shot because
I didn't think chicks were into that kind of thing.
well, maybe it was just it maybe well that if just because you take a picture of something doesn't have to be a fetish. It could have just been like artistic.
Yeah, yeah, that's what they are.
Well, what I don't why else would she do it? I don't know.
In defeat, I guess.
I don't know. And then at least it wasn't Quentin Tarantino doing it. You know?
Yeah.
And then we were on our way back, and Deb wanted to take this speedboat kind of thing.
Ah,
And I'm like, well, I wanted to sun myself again on that. And she's like, no, we're gonna take this speedboat. It was a goofy looking speedboat. It looked more like a weird kind of like it was like if you'd taken if a speedboat and a bus had a baby.
ah,
Uh, it was all right, but I kind of wanted. I don't know. I can't bitch to her now.
yeah,
It was fun, no regrets. Oh, maybe a little bit of regret about the English part of it.
yeah.
Kind of sucked.
Dang it. Went all day
Uh,
without coughing, and now I sound like poo poo.
so no Steve, no Putt, no Neb.
Yeah. But Neb
I
kind of
wonder if
surprised
that
because he
thing about
usually.
with Neb was like that Cocoon movie or something where he
Yeah,
just like blossomed out, but then had to go back again and still be back into his well.
I guess.
Hope he's not mad about the brilliant garbage thing and losing access. I wondered if I could go on Fiverr, if they've got someone on Fiverr that could possibly fix your YouTube woes.
Hell, it might be worth a try.
I think I might look into that as a last resort. I mean, Phil acted like, we had hope, but then he didn't really offer anything that could be done.
Well, it doesn't
I mean,
involve Apple products, so.
yeah, I know. I think that probably just have to make a new YouTube page. It just kind of this so we've got a comedy troupe called Brilliant Garbage where we do audio skits making fun of like 70s and 60s sitcoms and stuff. It's real
Yeah.
funny. It's on YouTube. And we stopped 10 years ago because Neb, Derek Albright, he's been on this show recently.
Yeah.
he just stopped doing it and just left us hanging. And we were right in the middle of doing a skit. And then finally he came back again a couple months ago. So we decided, why don't we finish this skit that we were doing? And the thing is we had like 150 subscribers
Yeah.
on that channel, and, which has seemed a lot for that channel. And I'm like, wouldn't it give everybody a heart attack if after 10 years, all of a sudden the skits start
Yeah.
coming through? And I couldn't wait. And we ended up finishing the skit, and it sounded really good. And I go on YouTube. I'm like, gosh, I haven't logged in here in a while. I had the correct email, I had the correct password, and then it said, we're sending a text to your phone to verify. And it's like the phone number was one I had like when I was married.
Yeah.
Like, what the? And that's it.
Yeah, that's that two-factor authentication shit kicking
Yeah, but
in.
there's
Yeah, but
no
then-
like support. There's nothing. I mean, I'll send you a phone bill with the to show you that that's my number and my new number, and I just like. So I'm gonna look on Fiverr and see if there's somebody that can kind of help, and if not, we'll just have to start a new channel. But I was really hoping to give people heart attacks, you
Yeah.
know, so we'll kind of miss that opportunity.
Yeah.
Start a new show.
Well, we just have to start a new Brilliant Garbage channel. But I kind of think, I don't know. I think a lot of people are probably from Transferama anyway, so I'll just have to make a new Transferama blog saying that the channel's switched and we'll have new content and stuff. I'll be right back now that he's back.
Oh, Mr. 5:22 a.m. Harley has just came home. 5:22 in the morning, every morning, on the
No, I
dot.
got my headphones.
Ah. It's Harley with straight pipes going by. It's always 5:22.
Guess I'll just go back to the phone.
Ah.
How's that?
There you go.
I lost volume on my cell phone.
Huh.
Oh, it's turned off. How'd that happen?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Tried to put my headphones on and set everything into. So for all of you out there in Chatland, please watch, TV on,
Mm.
buy jewelry, support, support Tony over here.
Yeah, that'll happen. I mean, the thing is that if I make more money, they're just going to hold back my Social Security checks.
Yeah.
So hell with it.
Yes, they were. Do you qualify for the medical yet?
Medicare, that's next March. Actually, they say you need to start the sign-up process 6 months before your 65th
Yeah.
birthday. So that's going to be this September. I got to get the
Put in
ball
for that.
rolling then.
Then you can finally go see the doctor,
Yeah, if I feel like it. It's like, oh, you got this, that thing wrong, and you need this taken out and that put back in. I think, it's like
Thank you.
It's like
Appreciate
it's like putting a new battery pack in a '99 friggin' Prius. I was like, come on.
I had this weird dream the other day.
Oh,
him and these weird dreams, but I like them. So
yeah,
Yeah, it was one of those dreams. I think you've all had it, where you're living in a new house or something, and it's like nothing you've ever been in before.
yeah,
It's not reminiscent of any place you've ever lived. Well, this was like a split level house, and somehow Gracie was back in the picture, and she was coming home with Josh or whatever, and I was gonna let the dogs out, and there was a split level thing, and the dogs were coming down the stairs, and there was this gray puppy, not like a little puppy. She was like a 30-pound, kind of like a growing dog, but
Yeah.
still a puppy. And it was gray, and she just looked so happy, or he or whatever. with the goofy eyes and just panting and coming down the stairs and with the other dogs. And I had a little swing set up outside, and I was just looking at this weird view. The yard dropped off steep to the next yard, and there was like a courtyard, and this almost looked like a castle made out of red brick, and it had all these weird angles the way the walls were. And then I was like I was on the swing, but I was in the side of my old 78 beater Camaro.
Mm.
It was really weird. And then when I was recollecting the dream later that day, I was like watching, and I almost started crying thinking about that dog. I mean, it really hit me emotionally, that puppy. I don't know why. It wasn't sad. It was just maybe because it was so cute and it really didn't exist, but it was Lucy, is what it was.
Mm.
It was just so odd that it hit me so emotional like that.
I really wonder where that comes from, because whenever I'm have a dream and I'm in a house, it's always a house that bears, like you said, bears no resemblance to any house I've ever lived in, visited, anything. I don't know
Yeah,
why.
and they've always got, they're neat. I like those dreams, even though there was this one where my bedroom, it was like a shopping mall almost, and my bedroom was like very well lit, but it was just a big glass plate window where you could see everything. It was like a shopping mall window.
Hmm.
Uh, and I've had a reoccurring dream where I've got, it's like Darren's living there, and he's got the good bedroom. He's got the bedroom that actually sprawls outdoors into this deck that overlooks the lake, and I've just got this one kind of inner bedroom that's got one little window, and it looks almost like a prison cell, but it's big. The bedrooms are always big, the ones I got. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, I can set up books here and this, but it's still empty and kind of depressing.
But that's the way it would happen.
It's the way it always did happen.
Hmm.
And Darren would get the big, nice bedroom that had all the views and everything, and you would be in the back, corner of the house.
Kind of did when we moved to North Glen. I lived in the basement, but that's my choice. I thought it would be neat, and then
Hmm.
only a couple nights hearing the duct work of the vent. It's like when the
Ooh.
vent would start, it would go boom, which wasn't a big deal. But when the air would turn off, it would wait like 4 or 5 seconds and then boom. And I'm like, okay, I ain't gonna be able to stand this shit several times a night. So I ended up, Darren had the bed upstairs, and I had a pull-out mattress under his bed for the rest of the time he lived there. I just would pull out the mattress and sleep on the floor.
So how's that trip coming? Is he still moving here?
Hadn't talked to him, and I think he's trying to sell that house. I think he's going to have a tougher time selling it. He's put a lot of money. He's going to buy like 25 grand on a new, uh, furnace. They
Mhm.
had to put a new roof on it. He's not going to get as much as he thought he was going to get. He had
Yeah.
to put so much into it. So I don't think he's going to be able to buy a
When we
lot.
sold our house in Colorado and moved here, yeah, people don't care about the upgrades. It's just the fair market value price
Yeah.
and the MSRP or whatever.
Well, a lot of the realtors won't even touch your house unless you get this fixed and that fixed. I think, we learned that. We sold our house uh in Jacksonville, but yeah, I don't know. I hope he gets here soon, but the good news is I got most of my property and house improvements done now. Got a little bit
Cool.
more to do outside, and then it's just doing inside stuff, and the inside stuff's just like little touch-up paints and it's cleaning stuff. It's just not big. That's boring anyway. Uh, Laura said, I have one of them down my block, 5:05 a.m., a big truck with giant exhaust pipes. Yeah, I've got this guy next door, the diesel. He didn't live there. He just comes in there
Picks
and
him up.
several times a day, and he just idles that thing, sometimes for an hour. And it used to fill my house up with fumes,
Yeah.
and you have to hear that damn thing. And I hated it. And finally, I talked to the guy, So he still does it, but he's at the other end of the guy's yard now, so it's a little further away. It helps a little bit. Laura said she'd love to, but she's poor. Love to what?
Cruising, probably.
Where'd Gottschalk go?
Yep. Better on his phone, I guess. And
Did I say something bad?
yep, you did.
You know, when we hosted this last week, when Putt joined us and we had 5 squares,
Uh-huh.
I could have sworn that I was looking at it through OBS and had it resized, but I didn't. I didn't resize it, or something happened.
Yeah, I
What
don't have
happened,
to.
Gottschalk?
That's what happens when you start playing with buttons on your headphones, apparently. And
Oh,
Hey, you got a book?
I do have a book right there.
an aluminum book?
Let's see. Oh, buy jewelry from Tony's workplace.
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
that, yeah.
went to Tony's show one time, and then I was watching it, and I was looking at the different rings, and Gracie comes, "Oh, are you gonna buy me a ring?" And I'm like, "Motherfucker!"
My wife looks at it sometimes too and sees certain stuff on there. She goes, "That's nice," but she never asked for it.
Yeah.
Now, there was a piece of jewelry a couple weeks ago that they had on there. I was like, "Oh, Christ, I'm going to have to buy that," because that was really nice. And then they only had one of them and it was gone.
Yeah.
It's probably for the better.
Probably.
My regrets is when I got married, I ordered I had a ring made at a jeweler, and it was nice. I think it had 2 sapphires and then a little diamond in the middle. It was a real pretty ring,
Yeah.
and there's a little fitting issue, so he took it back to have it resized, and then they gave me a different ring back that was smaller. The stones were tinier. And we had taken a good picture of that ring, and they actually had the management out and everything, and the guy's like, "I'm sorry," whatever. It just took and then Gracie pawned my ring anyway.
Mhm.
Wow. How sad.
I ended up just getting a band from Walmart. That's all we needed from the get-go, was a stupid band instead of like a $900.
Oh, I'm trying to find one that's.
Yeah, that boat was about that size. That ferry boat. It
Ah.
was kind of like a cruise ship.
Yes, Laura, sorry. Wow. It's all very pretty, but just way out of my price range. Yeah. You gotta seen the one
Well,
the other night.
you gotta keep watching until it goes down to $6 or whatever it does.
Well, there it is.
Tony said they had one up there one time for $1 million.
Well,
Then it went down to like 12,000.
It's still way above my range. That
yeah.
when I proposed to Gracie in a mud pit, it was in a quarry mud pit. But I gave her one I got out of the gumball machine
Ah.
ring. It had the little bubble, the little plastic bubble that comes in with the little lid.
Right.
Well, we knew we were going to get better ones, but that was the one I proposed with. It's probably the one we should have just kept with it. It'd been probably easier. I hear that people that pay like $30,000 or $40,000 on their wedding, they're the first people to break up.
Yes. Because it's all about material, not love.
Yeah, and it's not a good way to start out a venture in life in debt over something,
I think our very first wedding rings, so I think we went to K's and we paid like $150 for the full wedding set and had like a diamond chip in it,
That's what we should have done. Even a cubic zirconia, I regret spending like $900 on a stupid, especially when they did that switcheroo.
Yeah.
And the ring that they ended up with, I don't know, it wasn't the same ring, and it just wasn't the same anymore. And I was always playing with it on my finger, turning it around. And I hated that. It's just like it was it didn't belong there. It was just like always playing with it.
So you ready for this?
Yeah.
We're going to do a little bit of astronomy and space true or falses. So true or false, Mercury is the hottest planet in the solar system.
I would. Well, it's the closest to the sun, isn't it?
Yes.
But Venus has an atmosphere to maybe trap more of that heat in.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Venus just because of that, but
Well, it's true or false
I don't know.
that Mercury is the hottest planet in the solar system. So you can say false, but I'm going to say
I'll say
Venus
false
is
just because it seems too obvious.
not. Well, you're right. False. Despite being the closest planet to the sun, Mercury is not the hottest. That honor instead goes to Venus, whose atmosphere traps heat in. So
Hey!
You know why? Is everybody on Venus drives a Chevy Suburban?
yes.
That's right. I'm smarter than the average black car.
Well, you got some blue in it, some purpley blue.
Some of that's just sky reflections and stuffs. I don't know. I think I might. I don't know what color. Maybe it is. Yeah, I guess I do have some kind of blue. Laura said false too. She gets a point.
Yeah, Wendy was
Wendy
talking
said,
about
my wedding rings were my mom's original set, and Ratchet wore his grandmother's wedding ring. Isn't that nice?
Yes, it
It
is.
started off free. That's why you two stayed together so long. Because if you'd have spent like the money we did, it's just never good.
Yep.
True or false, Uranus was almost named George.
That's
What?
what I named mine.
The planet. So true or false, Uranus was, or do we call it Uranus?
Uranus,
Sorry,
yeah.
Uranus was almost named George.
No,
I'll
say
say
false.
yes. True.
It is true. The astronomer who first discovered the planet was English and wanted to name it after King George as either George or Geronium.
Oh,
It definitely wouldn't have fit with the going theme.
it would have
And then
been
that
far
weird-
fewer
that-
jokes.
Yeah, and that weird Tyson guy said, "Oh, it's not a planet after all." And then
No,
No,
that's
he's talking
Pluto.
about Pluto.
oh, same difference. No,
Well,
Uranus has
science guy
has
named
a-
after chicken. I was like, come on.
Yeah, Pluto's named after the Disney dog. You know what? I was on Movie Chat today and I saw the Incredibles 3, and I felt just like clicking on it and just saying, "Fuck you, Disney," and just saying, I think I'm still gonna do that.
Don't do it. Go ahead, talk it out.
Yeah.
I've never seen. I mean, in 10 years they single-handedly they destroyed so many people's, kind of their pop culture.
Yeah. Well, I think it
memories.
started out with that revival of the Mickey Mouse Club. Because every girl on that show ended up a complete train wreck.
Oh yeah, the Britney Spears and
Mhm.
Lindsay Lohan and all those people.
Oh, yeah.
True or false? Because the sun is not solid, its temperature is just about the same at its core as it is on the surface.
I think it's higher at the core.
How did they know? They don't know. They have no clue. Honestly, they have no clue. I'll just say true.
No, they did. They sent a guy up there at night, and he was able to check it.
And he stuck a thermometer up its Uranus.
When it was off. That's-
Like I said, the guy went up there at night when it was off, and he stuck a thermometer up its Uranus, So false. On the surface, the sun's temperature is a toasty 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit. At its core, the sun is estimated at a blistering 27 million degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
They have no clue.
Yeah, they can take, they can analyze the light coming out of it and figure the.
No, they can't.
Yes,
they
they
can analyze my ass.
Well, they know what the is it the sun or is it Earth that has an iron core ferrite
Yeah.
core?
I don't even think they know what the hell's down there. They never got to drill that far down.
No, because
Well,
you let
don't
the
you remember
monsters
this?
out if you do that. I've seen it of Japanese movies.
Yeah.
Well,
I think that they know more, or they say that they know more than they actually do. Because all scientists make their money on grants because they don't actually do anything. They to make grants, you got basically they gotta talk out of their ass and either scare people for political reasons for more money, or they gotta act like they're saying something profound.
well, now they're saying. I just read this a couple
Okay,
weeks ago.
RFK.
You know, where how they used to think, oil was all, what is it?
It comes from
Matter.
algae and bacteria and stuff. It doesn't come
Yep.
from the stupid dinosaurs like they used to say.
Yeah.
That
Well,
fossil
yeah,
fuels,
well,
that fossil fuels thing was a 70s thing.
yeah, the fossil fuel. That's it. Yeah. Now they're saying it's a natural reaction with the crust and stuff like that. Water gets down in there, and it
Yeah,
creates all sorts of.
I don't think we're going to be running out of oil anytime soon, like they always said.
You eating a fat burger there, Tony?
No, I had actually had, per our discussion earlier, I actually had breakfast burritos this earlier today. Big ones full of everything that. Well, they didn't have any mayo in them, but everything Timmy hates: hash
What do I
browns,
eat?
scrambled eggs, bacon.
I
you
like
know,
bacon. I don't want eggs.
sausages.
That's said Darren likes to cook, and he says, "Well, you're not going to like anything I make." I'm like, "Why you say that?" He said, "It's because you're so particular." Because he says I put onions in my chili and different. I'm like, I'm okay with that. I said I don't like egg-based things like mayonnaise and like salad dressings and weird stuff like I don't like potato salad. I don't like casseroles and stuff. But yeah, I don't mind if there's little pieces of, and we basically were the same. I don't mind a little bit of onions or tomatoes in my chili or this and that. I just don't want it big because I don't mind the taste of onions, but it's like biting into a cockroach, that texture. That's what I don't like.
How about Funyuns? You like Funyuns?
Yeah, I like Funyuns, but I'm kind of. Oh, did you hear? That's the new thing. The thing that Kennedy's trying to, or that they're doing,
Ah,
is like Doritos and different things they're going to put on the package. Not recommended for consumption.
contains poo.
Well, no, I mean it's a good thing.
Yeah,
And maybe they'll start not putting poison in the food anymore.
yeah.
It's really getting dark and stormy looking outside.
It's a dark
Yeah,
and
Captain
stormy
didn't want
night.
his milk bone because it's thundering. He loses his appetite.
Not me.
Well, he just doesn't want to shit himself on a full stomach.
Well, how else do you?
He doesn't shit himself. I've just caught him in the act doing things he ain't supposed to be doing. And I was wondering, I'm like, when I'm out here weed eating, I hardly ever worry about stepping on a landmine. And that's why. It's too much recycling going on out there.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
And then he licks your face.
Yeah, of course.
No, that's the one thing. Captain's not a licker. He doesn't like to give kisses.
Oh,
He's
this
never-
damn thing out here. I said no. Didn't order any wet dog noses.
Lucy will give you a kiss, but she likes to lick.
I mean, it's cute when they're a little tiny puppy, but when they're a dog that stands about 4 feet high. I mean, this thing is like part black lab and part like Great Dane. I think just the legs are like
If
3
I
feet
have some
long.
kind of lotion on or something, boy, she just goes crazy with the licking.
They're just trying to save your
Tracy's-
life from
yeah,
the
I mean,
lotion
never mind.
monster.
Just kidding.
True or false? Among the objects humans have sent to space are pictures of human sex organs, sea urchin sperm, a pizza, and the remains of the guy who discovered Pluto.
Oh yeah. Well, also there, Scotty's some of his ashes got shot up into space.
I'll say
On
true.
Verizon.
I'll say true just because it sounds stupid.
Yeah.
And NASA's stupid.
Well, you're very, very close, Timmy. It says true. Why not?
Yeah. But no, they shot Scotty's ashes up into space, so why not?
Wasn't that on Verizon or that Verizon whatever thing, whatever?
But no, they took all of Kirk up there, but that wasn't even. It's technically space. It's like when you get a house that's Beverly Hills adjacent, but it's not really.
But it doesn't
Beverly
make you an astronaut.
Yeah, that's shit though. You're just riding in a damn seat.
Like that was what Katy Perry came off. I'm an
Good
astronaut.
gravy. Yeah,
Oh,
sure
that's
you are.
stupid. That sounds like a new drama we could come up with for Dell, Beverly Hills Jason.
Yeah, there you go.
That or James at 59.
Well, actually, James at 15, I was 15, so he would be James at 64 now.
James at 64.
He's still sitting in the same house, just kind of looking at the wall.
I never did see that show.
No, neither did I, because I looked at it and I just got this vibe. This is going to be too realistic. Why the hell you want to watch reality when it's all around you? You don't need to turn on the TV to watch it.
Yeah. But that became a thing years later where people just watch people with a hidden camera in their house.
Well, those are scripted to shit anyway. You know?
Oh, yeah, I know.
But I mean, something that really like looks like real life is like, why bother? I'd rather watch somebody wiggle her nose and turn her husband into a banana as some crap.
Inflation.
Lighter.
I've seen them.
I had a friend that had, I think they're flying gerbils.
That's what they are.
Had a friend, I'd never heard of, hey, Put.
We're saved. I
Shows a
think.
coffin, you know, and that's terrible. God, John, don't say that.
What? What? Who?
We have a picture of a coffin come up, and I'm
Oh,
like, what?
good gravy. He's almost there.
Almost.
You're halfway there, living on a prayer.
Yeah, turn his camera on.
Yeah. Or a microphone, or a telegraph, or what, you know, one of those teletype things. You know, they don't even make you learn Morse
That's
anymore.
a stupid song.
Oh, Western Union. Ba, 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 ba. It's like
It
you get
sounds
a
so
whole
much like
song. You got to
Simon
explain. You got to explain the entire song to anybody who's under
Oh.
50.
Just an annoying, stupid song. Oh, I did see it. Even though I'm not interested in MASH, it did come up in my YouTube feed. So I watched. It was one of those with the stupid AI narration, but it was pretty well done. It was about the actors on MASH and why they quit the show.
Oh.
So I thought that was a little interesting. I thought the most interesting was the first captain or colonel,
Yeah.
the one that Potter replaced, the one
Right.
with the fishing hat.
Yeah.
That he left because he thought that he could bloom out and be this big star, and it just
Oh,
didn't happen.
cool. Yeah. And he got like one other gig.
Yeah, pretty much. And that gig flopped.
I say, didn't he actually like die in the 70s, late
I
70s?
think in the 90s he did.
Yeah.
Uh,
McLean, was that his name?
And then what was the
Yeah,
first? I
McLean
don't know
Stevenson,
who
yeah.
was first, Trapper or BJ?
Trapper.
Trapper. He's
So
done.
Trapper,
He
he
passed on.
quit because basically it started becoming the Hawkeye show, and none of the other actors evolved except Hawkeye, and it's just like he was just kind of.
Well, and
instead of,
Wayne
like,
Rogers,
going
he
with
ended
them-
up turning into this finance guy.
Yeah, he made like $1 billion just being. Yeah, he was like on like.
He was
Fox
also on like
News.
Fox Business Network and
Yeah.
talking to people. It's like he completely just got out of acting and just got into.
So
throwing money
BJ's the
around.
one that kind of became a douche in real life. Right?
Yeah.
Well, he's an ultra liberal.
Yeah. What was the yeah, and Radar left
Yeah.
mostly because I think he didn't spend enough time with his family and stuff.
Well, and he kind of was full of himself because he was like a serious stage actor. So he felt like he was above everybody else.
Well, they said he was the only one that was in the movie.
Yeah.
And his character in the movie was more like almost like Pee-wee and Porky's. He was a kind of a pervert, and he was just kind of snarky and always playing jokes on people. And he changed the character himself to be like very kind of humble and carry the teddy bear and all this stuff. I thought it was an interesting show. I mean, it was an interesting documentary. it's not quite as interesting as rock and roll stories because rock and roll people actually have talent.
Oh,
And they
yeah,
have
there
to
you go.
they actually have to write themselves
Well,
and
I'd like to thank Mark Putt for appearing on the show, and
that was a nice little cameo, wasn't
yeah.
it?
Do you watch on YouTube? Do you watch the Professor of Rock, Timmy?
Professor Barack.
Professor of Rock.
I think I heard you talk about it. I haven't seen. I've seen
You've got
music
to
videos.
watch him, Timmy. If you want to know about music history, this guy.
Hey, I want to know, but I want to know the bad stuff too,
Yeah.
He talks about the bad stuff too.
because there was this one guy. I finally had to unsubscribe to him because he's this guy with glasses, and he's always so happy, and I couldn't
That's the
stand it.
that you know what? That's the Professor of Rock. He wears glasses and
He's happy.
yeah, but he talks about the bad stuff too. Don't
I
he
don't
may-
know. He just seems to. He's just. I don't know if it's the same guy. But this guy, he's annoying, and he's like so excited about his content that it's like we all knew this. What? Don't act so excited about it. We all
Well,
knew it already.
that's when you're excited about your content, that gets people excited, and
Yeah.
Not
people
me.
want
It
to.
turns me
Yeah, it
away
does.
because it's just like it's like because he's excited about something that's not supposed. This guy, it was the most amazing thing, and just watch this, and then yeah, he had a song and it went to number 40, and it's just like it's just mundane stuff, and he acts like it's changed the whole world.
Yeah.
So let me
Yeah.
look. Let me look and see if that's the guy. It's gonna slow me down. Slow me down because
Flag him down.
fly him down. Let me see, Professor.
Of rock.
Of course, I misspelled professor.
P-E-R.
That is him.
Yeah.
Oh, this guy?
No, that's Darren. Sam. Yeah, I don't like that guy, and he always appeared, and I watched several of his stuff, but he hardly ever says anything bad. It's like he sugarcoats everything.
Hey, Putt's back.
He bought.
Just do sign language, Putt, or Morse code or something.
He kind of is. Maybe he's giving
You
us.
know they
like,
don't
some-
make him learn Morse code anymore?
That's my cousin Jerry Pruitt cussing.
Can you guys hear
Oh,
me?
yeah.
Oh, and I can
We
hear
can
you
hear
now a
you.
little bit.
That's most of the battle.
As long as we can hear you.
Buddy, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me near you?
Well, then, Timmy, you won't like the Professor of Rock. I, on the other hand, like the Professor of Rock.
Well, good for you. Marry him.
I like him pretty much.
There you go. Okay, Putt, we can hear you. If you can get a little closer to your mic.
I can't.
All right. Or get the pillow off of your face. I know they're trying to kill you.
How you
My
doing, bud?
Bluetooth light doesn't work anymore.
Ah.
I don't know what's going on.
Well, we're glad you're here, bud.
I'm trying.
Just for that, though, Timmy, when I come to visit you, we're going to go to Beef O'Brady's.
Okay. I'll tell them when I order it. Can you cook it?
Yeah, can you bring it out at least hot?
Yeah, can you heat it up before you bring it out? It might have been okay. I might not have had any complaints if the damn thing was heated up. I mean, it was just mac and cheese and chili, I think, or something. It was just like
Yeah, it was like their chili mac and cheese, yeah.
Yeah, it's like I can take a can of chili and mac and cheese, but I know how to heat it up.
Yeah.
Hey, but it makes a funny anecdote, doesn't it?
Yes.
You can have good
We
food.
Well, we will talk about that to the end of our days there, Timmy.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Mad Drummer, remember the Mad Drummer?
Hmm.
Oh. I think I do.
Sharp Dressed Man. It's a YouTube sensation. Well, he did a video blog a week or so ago saying that it was a story, but when he was in that band, the All Nighters or whatever, and he said they had a trailer with their stuff, and they were going down this hill to go to McDonald's, and he said they were at the traffic light or whatever, and there was this other guy. He just starts honking his horn and looking at and he's like, "Why is this guy let off?" And finally, the Mad Drummer guy, he flips him off. And when they got out of the car, they realized he'd left the trailer door open, the back door.
Oh.
And I don't know if all their equipment fell out or whatever, but the back door was, and he felt so stupid that he flipped that guy off that was just wanting to help. And it's haunted him all his life. I'm like, look, the guy probably he knew what was going on. He probably had a good laugh about it, And, and I said,
or not.
I said the happy, if everything was a happy story, it wouldn't make a funny anecdote, And he said, "You're an optimist, but I really like that version of the story. I think I'm going to go with it." He's pretty good at responding to comments.
Now, see, me on the other hand, I would have been that guy and been like, "Well, last time I helped somebody like you, asshole."
Yeah, the Mad Drummer's cool. We've talked quite a bit.
The only one I see. This one I was saying. Have you seen that guy on YouTube that wears like the horse head and plays on the 5-gallon bucket in the bathtub or something? Shit's funny.
Like a fetish thing to me.
But he's actually supposed to be. He hasn't revealed himself yet, but he's supposed to be like a big time drummer for a band or something.
Well, 15 years ago it was like a trendy thing where all the kids, they would get these plastic horse heads and put them on, and they didn't really look like horse heads. They looked more like Marmaduke almost. They were really badly modeled. They weren't good like my horse head.
I guess this will have to do. I don't have video anymore.
Well,
damn,
you're here, Putt. Just do what you can.
So how's it been going?
Shitty.
Good.
Sick all the time. I haven't eaten yet today, so forgive me.
Did you see the film yet, Putt?
No, I haven't had time.
True or false? The Austrian army once had mistakenly attacked itself.
True.
Tony's an expert, so I'll say true.
True. The Battle of Carnsbees reportedly resulted in losses of up to 10,000 soldiers when one Austrian regiment mistook another for the enemy.
I can understand friendly fire taking out a couple people, but 10,000? How does that happen?
Actually, it actually happened quite a bit in the Civil War.
Yeah.
Especially with nighttime maneuvers, one Union or one Confederate unit would be moving in the Confederate lines or the Union lines, whatever side, and they would cross picket lines and they would get into battles with each other.
And the thing is, this was before smokeless gunpowder. Yeah, the old black powder. So it was just nothing but smoke. You couldn't see it. That's why the British would wear bright red, is the only way they could see each other.
Yeah, the emission standards changed.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to have a catalytic converter on your rifle now.
Yeah.
But now you need an EV rifle, because we got to go to those by
ray gun. Yeah, see, this guy's an idiot. Look at this jackass. Sorry, Putt. Go ahead, Putt.
I just said they should have gone back to those steam-powered rifles.
Oh, yeah.
Cheerios. I never understood plain Cheerios. It's like, ew.
Well, they're
it's
great.
Like keeping a cardboard box. And they say they've got like 10 cups of sugar in a box, but they still manage to taste like cardboard. How do you do that?
That was back in the 60s. That was a goofy old couple. They were handing out, little bags of plain Cheerios on Halloween. I think they just caught by surprise. They just forgot that it was Halloween.
Yeah, but people still do it today.
I guess a lot of people forget it's Halloween.
Yeah.
I
At
used to
least
hand
get
out.
the kids Honey Nut Cheerios. Get them something kind of that tastes good.
I hand out chicken bouillon cubes.
Oh, there you go.
Kids think they're caramels and put them in their mouth, and you know.
Nice.
There was a guy in England that was handing out whole boxes of like that Rochelle candy.
Wow.
And
Wow.
some kid's mom came and yelled at him because when you opened up the Rochelle candies, it was a Brussels sprout.
Oh, good.
Oh, sweetness.
And she was like, you know, you can't, it's Halloween, you shouldn't be doing that. And he goes, well, it's trick or treat. And this was a trick.
Oh, this is
Yep.
trick or treat too, as you beat him up with a baseball bat.
Yeah, that's awful.
That's what happened to this guy. Why do you think he's beating on his horn and doing all that stuff? He's going
Well,
after that
It's
guy.
like, I wanted my, our friend Thomas, who used to join us. I wanted to go to his house and maybe have a watch party for the film there, but I'm like, if I do, I'm going to have to eat Brussels sprouts like I
Yeah.
always do.
But you
You know,
can
didn't I
dip
put a
them in chocolate. I've seen
Well,
that
he
done.
broils them, so they're not too bad.
That's where I was going.
It's like eating air. They don't have any flavor, so it's not too gross, but it's not something I look forward to really.
That's where I was going. Didn't I post a video on like Facebook a couple of weeks ago about people having Brussels sprouts on a stick to give me a chocolate,
Yeah.
and then they would put like sprinkles on it, set it up, and my caption was, you know, somebody gave me one of these and I bit into it, there'd be a fight.
Yeah.
I can
They would be
understand that. That's just that's something you don't do.
there would be a fight.
Yeah. I do remember when I was in Alabama, we do what?
I said we're gonna go up there and we're gonna start feeding putts some Brussels sprouts, man.
There you go.
I love Brussels sprouts.
I'm sure
We
you
can have
did.
will.
all of them then. I went to we went trick or treating in Alabama, and there was this rich neighborhood with these mansions and giant trees.
People told you to get off their lawn.
No, but to get in there, you had to go through the real poor place with the shotgun shacks.
Mm.
Sweetness.
And when we went through the poor place with the shotgun shacks, they were all like black people, and they gave you like a whole box of candy, like the bottle caps or something, like stuff that would be $1 at Walmart. They were giving us those, and then when we got to the fancy people, they like put an M&M in your bag, and that's it, you know.
I'd say they give you the little candy bars that say fun size, and I want to know what's so fun about that size.
Yeah, I
anyways.
know, right? Joke size. It's fun for the people that hand them out to you because they can laugh at you and snicker when you leave. That's why they call them Snickers, because you give it to somebody and snickers.
Yeah. All those cars
You know,
are so
Or
angry.
fun size candy bars would be those candy bars you can buy at Cracker Barrel, you know, like the 2-pound Hershey bars or shit. That's fun size right there.
Or in Scotland where they deep fry the damn things.
Hey, but I said this before all you came here, but does a
Yeah,
sore
my
thumb
dipping
really
sauce
stand
thing?
out?
You
What?
have my dipping sauce?
Dipping sauce. For Brussels sprouts?
Yeah, anything. My
Oh.
pizza.
Pizza?
Asparagus, you know.
Yeah, like,
Mm,
you
Or
have
big-
dipping sauce.
mm.
Okay.
I didn't ask for anything. I was just asking if does a sore thumb really stand out? You know, it stood out like a sore thumb is the big saying. It's like, you know, if someone had a sore thumb, I probably wouldn't even notice it.
Well, if it's
There's
like
always-
got a big bandage around it. And...
Yeah, but that would be a severed thumb. That's a whole different story. And then that led to a conversation because I remember back in the 80s, I heard of this woman that had her thumb was bit off by a horse. So they cut her toe off and put it where her thumb was.
Yeah.
And that's something I wouldn't do because it's like, no, you know, just live with the bad decision and I don't need any more digits cut off. Because then what are you going to put where that toe used to be?
You don't want to know. Put a DeSoto on it.
But they did kind of look like big toes, some of those
Yeah.
cars.
I think you ought to put a Studebaker on it, actually.
Studebaker.
A Nash would look would most like a toe, I think. Like you get a Matchbox Nash and put it where your toe was.
Yeah.
People wouldn't know the difference if you paint it up right.
How about a Corvair? You know, we'll just do that.
Yeah, they don't look too toe like that. You know, I bought some like flesh colored toenail polish
Nice.
because I stubbed my toe in January and it's still bruised because the nail didn't come off. It just so the bruise that stays underneath it, the blood or whatever.
Oh yeah, a little crud, and eventually
Yeah,
grows
so it's
out.
like it's going to be there a year before it grows out. So I
Yeah.
finally had to buy some stuff off Amazon. It was expensive, like $20 for a little bottle. But it's pretty good. It looks kind of bright compared to the others, depending on the light, but it's okay. It's not, it looks better than what it did. So that's my recommendation. If you stub your toe, don't cut it off. Just
Yeah.
buy some matching.
Oh, there you go.
My mom would say just put some Neosporin on it, you know, Band-Aid.
Well, are you gonna over the toenail? It's not gonna get through there.
Okay, my mom's old school, and you put Neosporin on everything. I mean, you could have an amputated arm, and she'd say put Neosporin on it with a Band-Aid. So
Or
I remember it
with
was
Captain's case,
Bactine
you
back
might-
in the '60s. It was this thing called Bactine, and it was you put it on your wound, and it
Yep.
hurts like
Oh, you
mother.
spray it
on
on the bubbles. Yeah, they of course with Captain with his sore, they just said to put honey on it.
Yeah.
So,
Which is what they use on mummies in ancient Egypt.
I can never pronounce.
it was some kind of honey that she said, Medusa honey or Menusa. I don't
Not
remember.
manure,
but-
honey. You know.
Yeah, it was something like that. And I'm like, why that? And she says, well, you don't have to get that, but it's got to be local grown honey. And so I went to Walmart and their Medusa honey or whatever was from New Zealand. I'm like, well, that doesn't do me any good. And it's very expensive, like $20 for a little bottle. And so I found Florida honey.
Mm.
So I'm like, well, that's got to work.
Yeah, there's every other block in Florida, Timmy. There's a side street vendor selling, you know, honey and
Everybody
fruit.
has bees. My friend Barb, who
Yeah.
one of my best friends, she's got bees, and you know. a lot of
I
people
remember
don't
back
use
in the '60s, only one time my mom managed to get hold of like honey that still had the combs in it. It was still like it was like the
You could find
wax comb, and there was even like a dead bee.
Oh,
And he
yeah,
would
my
chew the
grandpa
he
had
would
honey
he would
on the
eat
table
it
with
and
a
he
dead
chew the
bee.
wax and spit the wax out basically. But God, that was good.
Yes, it was. You can still
Can you
find
eat
some
the
of
bee, or
it.
does the stinger, like with the venom, hurt you?
I didn't eat the bee. I took that. I just set the bee on the side and gave it a decent burial. Got a little tiny trumpet.
or a piccolo sax, you know, a kazoo.
Oh, there you go. Now I do want to get a summer haircut. Yay,
Hey,
putt!
but
Yay,
But I don't want to be like this guy.
I think I'm back.
Yay! You look alive.
the sky.
He's got
Yeah,
a river
color.
monster behind
Your
him.
beard was crooked.
I know I need to fix it.
Yeah.
There you go. That's better.
Put one of those bow ties in it, you know,
Yeah.
tie it up. Put on.
It's long. Why is your beard getting so long?
Because it grows.
Yeah.
Really? Mine doesn't.
I trim mine because my beard grows like a Brillo pad. I remember back in the '80s when I was in my 20s, I let the whole thing grow all the way down, and I could take a pen or a pencil and stick it just through the beard like that, and it would stay. It was just like steel wool. In fact, I think I'm probably going to give up on this experiment, dude. I look like I'm 90 fucking years old.
Well, we were gonna have a discussion about that, Tony, but we held off. So
Well, I do want to get a cut for summer because of this is insanity right here. This is 2 years growth, and it's just waking up with it in my mouth is really the deal breaker.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to grow any facial hair. So.
You're
Says
still
who?
secretly in some kind
Says
of.
the wife. Says the wife.
Oh, okay.
I'd do it just in spite of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, she said you in the middle of the night. I'll get a razor and I'll do a swipe and then you'll have no choice.
Good luck with that. That ain't easy as you think it is.
Not to mention, I've tried to grow beards before, and I have like bald spots,
Yeah.
and it just looks stupid when, you know.
But what I figure is what I want to do is get like a mid to late 60s, like 1966 Beatles kind of haircut, where it's not too long, but it's not, you know, too weird looking either.
Yeah, because that wasn't weird looking on the Beatles.
Well,
They set all the trends.
they did. I mean, the 63 one was kind of weird because they had the kind of the bowl cut thing, but I think and before
That is
they went
something
full
that-
hippie.
When I went to the Q&A with Mickey Dolenz, that's one thing that was monkeys related where he didn't just discount it by saying it's for 10-year-old girls. They did ask him about the hairstyles.
Yeah.
Like every 6 months, their hair was all kind of different. He says, we were doing what the Beatles were doing.
Yeah.
You know, every time the Beatles changed their hairstyles, so did we. It had been such a weird time to be a adolescent or be in your 20s where the Beatles basically dictate everything you do.
That's
Here we go. So, some theorists believe that up to 300 years of history have been completely fabricated.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
the last
Jeez.
300. It's all bullshit. None of it happened.
Adherence to the
You'll say false. It was 320 years.
well, this wasn't a true or false. This was just a statement. So adherents to the phantom time hypothesis believe that the Holy Roman Empire conspired to add 300 years during the Middle Ages to the calendar.
Oh.
Oh no.
Which accomplished them nothing.
Yes.
There was a guy I was listening to today with Charlie White, and the guy was saying that he had 21 hours per week that he could work because he could alter time. And he goes, yeah, 300 years ago, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, you know, we were in prehistoric times, and it's like, no, we weren't. We were in the Dark Ages or the Middle Ages, you know. The guy was an idiot.
Yeah, there was a coworker who he would listen to like political podcast. He was like saying, "Oh, there's this guy named Bill. No, not Bill Maher, Bill Nye," and he was having a debate with a Christian, over atheist. It's really good, and he made some good points that Moses and all this with the burning bush. They were on some kind of acid, and he said because when you think about it, they were all basically cavemen, and they didn't have. I'm just like thinking, they weren't cavemen. 2,000 years ago, the technology was about exactly the same as it was 200 years ago. Time basically stood still until the industrial age, the steam engine, and things went bonkers.
Mhm.
It's like, shoot, if you actually read the Bible, it doesn't, they basically had, talk about physicians. They talked about everything that we got now, basically, nosy neighbors and gossip and just everything you deal with now. Things weren't really that different. Everybody had pet dogs.
Yeah.
It's just like they said, what was it? King Solomon was basically if you let a neighbor borrow a tool, just consider it lost.
Yeah.
Before it's just like they weren't cavemen. But they still have cavemen in Spain, I hear, or at least a few years ago they did.
I guess. Well, it's like dinosaurs. Oh, everybody pictures like every dinosaur living at the same time. I think they lived over a period of like 300 million years.
Well, that
Yeah,
dinosaur I was last week. I kind of my theory was that I was toward the end of the dinosaur era because it was almost kind of.
Well, one of the things they always showed, was like on Land of the Lost, with the Triceratops and the Allosaurus and the Tyrannosaurus Rex. None of those three lived at the same time.
No.
Yeah, but it still was canon because Land of the Lost wasn't Stone Age. It wasn't prehistoric time. It was basically a vortex where everything from different times got caught in it.
Yeah.
So you could have a sleigh stack that could have been from their future get caught into the Land of the Lost. And what I mean?
The sleigh stacks were from the future.
Right. And Enoch was their ancestor, and they evolved stupider and stupider.
Yeah, because he originally thought he was from the future and the other dumb ones were from the past. and he thought he was more evolved than them, but actually it ended up finding out that it was the other way around, and he had devolved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a pretty good show.
You know, like humans have been doing for the last like 30, 40
Yeah, I
years.
know, right? I think those gray aliens are just humans from the future that have been on their phones too
They
long.
took our gerbs.
Wouldn't it be funny if we just actually found ourselves there? It's like you go back and say, wait, that's the aliens from the 70s. It's just these women with the big Botox lips and stuff. It's like that's it. You know.
Yeah.
The four guys from, the four guys that were abducted. Well, no, the two guys that were abducted by the aliens in Arizona.
Yeah.
What's that?
Travis Parker.
Yeah. Nowadays, he's just looking at some of the people walking around going, they look familiar.
Well, no, as people, they call them NPCs now, non-player characters, because there's not enough like personalities for all the people that are in the world now. So I think a lot of them are just kind of just walking around bumping into things, and there's no activity going on.
It sounds right, doesn't it?
Well, like I said, I haven't watched it in years, but that movie Idiocracy, was just.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing wrong with that movie was it's set 500 years in the future, and it's like we're there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
We're already there 20 years later,
I was in a movie once, and it was like some kind of something was contaminated the water, and the people that drank water, which is almost everybody, became living zombies basically, where they were in so much pain all the time, like their skin hurt so bad all the time that all they could do was lash out and attack people. And interesting premise. The problem is when I watched the movie, it's like after the contamination, it said 60 or 70 years later. I'm like, what? So, I mean, I was one of the victims that went out attacking people. I attacked the protagonist lady in the woods, and but the thing is I was fully dressed and everything. So we're all this kid that was one of the victims that attacked. He had Reeboks. And it's like, wait a second. If this is 70, how are people going to procreate if they're in so much pain all the time that they just attack people? It should have been 6 months later, not 60 years later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my other problem is when there was like some military colonel and there was this black lady that was telling a government person or whatever, telling him what was going on. And she's like, no, it's already in the water and it's going to kill us all or whatever. It's like, no, that's not going to happen. If she's a government person, she's going to say the exact opposite. Oh, it's perfectly fine. And I had my chance to go see a test screening, and I should have seen it, and I would have brought those two things up, but it was too late. And all of a sudden, you had this movie on Amazon, and everybody was picking it apart, saying how stupid it was. And
I was just hoping it wasn't going to be the movie that you were in, and your truck got the credit for it.
Yeah.
oh, you know what? Did I tell you that I saw myself on IMDb, and there was this? I had a credit for a movie called After the Fall, and I'm like, what is this? I was never in a movie called, and I looked it up, and I was like, oh, that's the one where my truck was in it, and I got killed, and then my truck became the star.
Yeah.
And I can't find the movie. Now the director does have an After the Fall on YouTube, but it's a short film that was done years before this one. So I don't know what the heck. But at least they gave me the IMDb credit, which is what they said they'd do.
Yeah.
But I never got an invite. I never got, everybody that's been in my movie, I tried to at least, keep them in the fold. I'd like to see it. I'd like to see my truck, be the star of this movie.
Was it a movie that was like ever released, or?
I don't know. It's on IMDb, so I guess.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff on IMDb. There's like stuff works in progress where every actor is like dead, and there's just.
I guess.
not
Well,
in
maybe
progress.
it made some film festival things, but I never. Maybe I should just email the guy and say, "Hey, did that movie ever get done?"
Yeah.
I guess I could just ask him.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to him since they did that movie, and that was when my life changed because a week later is when I broke my shoulder, and then right after that is when the lockdowns and COVID happened. So it was just like that picture when I see it on Facebook, memories that of my truck and everybody killing.
And
each
you know
other
what?
with my truck. It's
That
like
might-
everything
that-
was fun. What?
that COVID lockdown may have just ceased the movie and it just ceased to exist.
Yeah.
But what? Why can't he just finish it?
Well, I don't know, but I know that a lot of movies got put on hold during COVID.
Yeah.
Well, mine should have gotten put on hold. I released mine in March of 2020, right before the lockdowns. If I had any idea, I don't know. I still probably would have. It doesn't matter because, that film was pretty low res. It wouldn't have even made. It wouldn't have even made the cut now because Fest.
Probably would have won an Oscar back then, so.
I might have. Well, Fest now they demand at least full HD. 1920 by 1080 resolution, which is what the new film is.
Hmm.
So it's basically eligible. It's good enough res to be contender now. But my other one, it was like 720 by 480 or so. It was a very small resolution movie. But but it was higher resolution than the one before it. But when I made that movie, I didn't make it for film festivals or distribution.
Yeah.
It was just going to be on YouTube again. And it wasn't until my cousin said, this is too good to just put on YouTube. And she's the one that taught me into all that stuff. She's the one that played Ear to Gogook.
Oh.
Which movie are you talking about?
Last Page of Summer.
Okay.
You were in it too, Putt.
I don't remember. But I believe you.
You had the sailboat in the sailboat race.
Oh, that thing, yeah.
Yeah, you had just a couple small roles. You weren't like a principal like you are in this. And you're a principal in this film, and you tell me you don't have the time to watch it, and it's just an hour long and 15 minutes.
Well, I'll try, Tim. I mean, I've been.
Now I know you're I think it will make you well if you watch it.
I've been in and out of the hospital. I've been in and out of doctor appointments.
Well, look at it as a
Therapy?
therapy, like a natural therapy. Because laughter is the best medicine. Do you ever hear that before?
Yeah, Reader's Digest. They still make Reader's Digest?
Yes, they do.
Oh my God.
I poop to it all the time. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, you guys missed. We had Wendy Lou. We had a watch party, and at her mother-in-law's house, and we had a lot of fun. And Wendy Lou had a cake made, an apology nun cake. It was so neat. And I had some people from my church there. It was a really neat show.
Yeah.
Timmy, I think we ought to do Star Trek, the Nun generation.
Yeah.
What sometime can we do like we can do a watch party here and a director commentary for like Star Trek or
Yeah.
Last Page of Summer or Saturdalia or any of these films? I think it would be fun, even though Gottschalk would have to be kind of you'd be there, you just not as of course the new movie. Well, we can't have a watch party until it's meets distribution.
You can just put me up as a silhouette in front of the screen. I'd be going, hey, there's a great Hackman moment, or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like MST3K, yeah.
Yeah.
But we've been wanting to do that for a long time, and I would still like to do it. We could even do it on a Transforma night or something.
Out of all the MST3K lines, I don't know why I remember that one. There's a great Hackman moment. Wasn't that like a movie from like the 60s where he was like an astronaut or something? Or
I think
I
so.
don't keep track of them.
and Gene Hackman was like 30 years old or something, and they were like, "Well, there's a great Hackman moment."
Well,
Poor
we can
guy.
do that.
Poor guy. I mean,
Yeah, we had a couple people on Transforma last time. It was pretty fun, and then after the next day, somebody said, "Oh, I'm late. Sorry." So I'm like, well, at least we had
Yeah,
somebody who was going to show up too.
well, we had Phil a couple weeks ago. He was commenting, but he was commenting on the wrong show. He was commenting on a show from a month ago.
We haven't done a Saturday show in a while.
No, it ain't going to happen.
Okay.
Wasn't the last one we did a disaster?
Yeah. Well, nobody
Or you
showed.
wanted us to do a Saturday show, Gottschalk, and we did, and you weren't there or something.
No, I usually showed up to those.
Something happened with the last Saturday show that was just it kind of killed it. What
I
happened?
know there was-
You're the one that said what happened.
No, you guys wanted to do some of it's your own kind of thing and make your own kind of music and bead your own,
special song.
breed your own kind of bees or some damn thing. And then I offered to like maybe just start because I'm idiot me. I'm still paying for frickin' Zoom, and to start the Zoom call. But it was going to be more one of Putt's deals where he talks about killers and dead people and all that other shit.
What
Well,
did I
some
talk
people
about?
like that stuff, you know. I don't, but some people, it's a popular topic with some people.
Yeah, true crime.
I like true crime.
Yeah, but the only people that have success with true crime channels are the way people that undress when they're doing it and stuff.
Yeah.
That's right. All the girls have
Yeah.
huge success with true crime, and the guys
Technically,
just
they could talk about golf scores. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
yeah, they could.
I keep thinking I see a foot over Gottschalk, but it's the blueberry guy or the Frankenberry guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that. Yes.
And there's a sperm below him, and that's the ghost guy.
Yeah.
I didn't
I'm
like. I didn't like the Frankenstein one. What was it called?
Frankenberry. He's right there. He's actually right. You
The
know.
one that
Yeah,
looks
I
like a
didn't
foot
like him.
every time I
I
see him in the corner of my eye.
I thought Blueberry was okay, but I didn't like. Yeah,
I
You didn't
really
like-
get Blueberry's okay. I think Count Chocula was the best.
yeah.
But they were all they were good when they actually made it with oats. Now that they make it with that reconstituted corn shit. Am I the only one that I was thinking just a couple days ago that Porky Pig may have been the only character on Looney Tunes that was basically with it and not just totally annoying.
Yeah.
It was just kind of an everyman.
Yeah.
He's kind of humble. It just doesn't seem like Porky Pig ever did anything that was really offensive or
No, he
confronting.
didn't. And they had a lot of Porky Pig cartoons, or it was just him.
Yeah.
Or bugs sometimes would show up or whatever.
Well, I
But
seem
no,
to
you're
remember
right.
once there was an episode where it seemed like he was doing his taxes, and it was so. The episode wasn't boring, but I remember just how tedious and boring that must. Because I was a kid thinking, "Oh my gosh, I got to do this when I grow up."
Yeah.
It just looks so tedious. He's at this desk and something kept bugging him and distracting him, some animal, But I just remember thinking, "Oh my gosh, yeah." Porky seemed like the only one that was kind of responsible and wasn't out to piss in everybody's pie.
Yeah.
What's that in your mouth?
Well, Putt's got pizza. Gottschalk finished his string cheese.
Boy, that must have done a number on Gottschalk. Look at him.
Indeed. You got some.
Anyways, guys, it's about time for me to go. You guys, please continue the show.
I can go a few more minutes. Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Let me see if I can.
Whoa!
What's that?
You.
What's that?
You're
You're just like
sideways.
bouncing around in 3D on the screen.
Yeah, it's called I pick up my phone.
Ah.
I'm
So
gonna show you-
Bill
I was gonna
Mooney
show
had
you
his
guys-
own cereal. Yummy Mooney.
Yeah, that's a newer thing. We had
Look at the-
was an old cereal that was part of the
Oh, that your
Monsters.
new computer?
No, that's my tabletop arcade game. I got Pac-Man on there and
When'd you get that?
Donkey Kong a couple weeks ago.
How much did that cost?
It's got about $1,500.
Wow. And
Cool.
what games does it have?
Oh, it's got like 200 some odd games. Most of these really stupid, knockoff games, but they do have the original Donkey Kong, Galaga, Frogger, Pac-Man,
Tempest?
Centipede, Tempest. It's got Tempest on there. So
Remember Asteroids? Does it have that? And
no, because that was a different company. These are all games from like Namco or something like that.
oh
Or
dang, you can't get the Activision games and stuff.
yeah. So
Well, do they have like a plug-in where you can get the other games?
I haven't checked. I don't know, but yeah.
So is it something that was like a novelty where you enjoyed it for one night and it's like, well, that's a
Oh
novelty.
no, I still turn around and sit over here because My desk, my computer desk, which I'm on, is right here, and then I have my chair in the middle, and that's over there. So I just flip my chair around and play Dig Dug or something for a
Oh,
while.
okay.
You ever
And
sit
if you get
on it?
tired of it, you could just use it as an end table.
Yes, I do have. I put drinks on it, so
You sit on it and stuff?
no, I don't sit on it.
Oh. Well, cool. That's
You know,
pretty cool.
Timmy,
That's not-
those of us who aren't thin, we are very careful what we sit on because not everything that looks like a chair is actually functional as a chair.
Yeah, I guess so.
For anybody over like 75 pounds, you know. So
Yep.
that's why, you know, I think we've talked about it in the past too. You know, where I've had these nice chairs that I've bought. You know, these nice computer chairs that I've bought, and I sit on them and they start going.
Yeah.
It's
My
like you're
drum
sitting
stool
there.
does that. It's got the butterfly screw, but
Uh-huh.
it always, you know, after a couple days of playing, I've always got to put the damn chair back up again. It's like,
Yeah.
really, you think it would, it's not rocket science. You
Was
think
that
they could do it.
wasn't that a Prince song?
What?
The butterfly screw?
No,
Yeah.
what kind of plane is that, Tony? The cute one.
That one, that's B-58, the Hustler.
Sweet.
I was about to say the Valkyrie, but it's not the Valkyrie.
Wasn't there something called a dart or a
Delta Dart, yeah.
Delta dart?
Which was, I think, also a country rock song.
Darren and I saw one fly over us back in the 90s when we were working, and I'm like,
Mm.
that's a look at that. That's a 50s airplane, a jet fighter
Yeah,
from the 50s. It's like a Delta Dart, I think it's called. And we were both just so impressed.
yeah.
You know, it's really neat seeing something vintage like that.
No, I think the country song or the Jacksonville country rock song, that was Delta Smelt, wasn't it?
Those peas.
Isn't that Delta
Sounds
Smelt?
familiar. Who did that?
One of them.
Glad you ate. How's your tummy going so far?
So far, so good.
Look at the folds on that arm. What's that behind you, Putt? I just see these folds on an arm like it's made of.
Ultraman
It's a
behind
rubber
it.
monster, yeah.
That's my
Or a rubber
That's
good guy.
Ultra 7, yeah.
Okay, yeah, it looked like a rubber. I thought it was a rubber-looking arm.
Yeah.
Well, it's a rubber man.
Yeah, he was in a wetsuit that they somehow printed to look like that.
Yeah.
Boy, that looks hot.
Yeah.
Fun though. I mean, I like wearing stuff, but that could. They said those sleeve stacks, they was made out of wetsuits, and it was like 130 degrees on those sound stages. And they said that they take the heads off and just be sweating buckets. Boy,
There
and
were
Shaka,
basketball
can you imagine how
players.
uncomfortable that would have been?
Yeah.
Having to wear that fursuit and that makeup under those hot lights like that.
That's why you see in a lot of these Japanese series, these Takuwatsu series, like Ultraman, Ultra 7, and all that. They kept the sound stages super cold.
Yeah.
You
can
would think
even
that would
see-
be a common practice, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
People sweat to death.
Because you don't want, you got makeup and all that other crap. You can't have them like just run rivulets of sweat running.
Yeah,
down.
I mean, goodness.
Well, anyways, gentlemen, have a great evening. I'll be back next week.
Yay.
Okay.
All right, well, take care.
I'll be talking to you on our chat channel, and
Oh, yeah.
so. All right,
And
gentlemen.
don't tell us that Sly on the Family Stone passed away, because we know.
Okay. I'll look that up and post it though. So
Okay.
all
I
right.
thought he passed away 10 years ago, to be honest. So
Probably
it's
did.
like, it was like again?
Yeah. Well, sometimes it doesn't take the first time. Hell, it was like
Yeah.
Tom Petty. How many times did he die?
At least twice.
Yeah, I was disappointed it wasn't John Cougar Mellencamp, but it's like when, what's his name?
Well, see,
I
who
can't
kicked the
think of-
bucket, right? Rick Ocasek, Jay Giles.
No, the Beatle,
Harrison?
John Lennon.
Yeah.
I heard that, John Lennon, and me and this guy in my computer lab were like, we both thought it was Jack Lemmon at first, and we were sad. And then we found out it was John Lennon, and we didn't give a shit.
You should have said that when Dennis was on our show. Remember that? And he
Boy.
says where he was when he found out John Lennon flu feed, and it was this big involved story. And you should have said that.
I should have. Yeah.
I mean, I don't wish that upon him, but I mean,
No.
where was I? I was 10 or 11 years old, and I just remember seeing uh, a picture of him on Time magazine with this giant beard, and it was just all like animal from Muppets, and it's like, what a freak! It's like, what a terrible picture for them to have as a tribute. I mean, really, because I think that's half of the world's population didn't really know who John Lennon was until they saw him on there and just thought, what a freak show, you know? And he only looked like that for a short period of time, you know?
Uh-huh.
Could you imagine that? It's like, I think all of us have been tagged in a photo and we see it on Facebook. We're at some party or something. It's like, it's the worst picture of me I've ever seen in my life. You
Yeah.
know, and it's like, could you imagine that's the one that goes up on Time magazine?
Yeah.
That one that was
Yeah. Timmy Ross killed.
what?
It said Timmy Ross dies from parasites in his mud pit. And they have this horrible picture of you.
I know.
Well,
I mean,
actually,
at least-
for
at
me,
least
the
have a-
party, the party pictures of the stuff where I'm at like a get together, it's the only time you ever see me smiling. Because when I like try to take a picture of myself smiling, it what's wrong? What are you? I am smiling as dumb fuck.
Well, that's a problem. I mean, I had pictures taken of me at this last party, and I was atrocious. I didn't want to say anything. I didn't want to hurt any feelings. Just let it go. But oh my gosh, I don't think I've ever seen worse pictures of. And I didn't know I was getting pictures taken of me. I had like helmet hair for one thing, and you know, and I was just I looked terrible. And I didn't even know the camera was on me, and I just looked so dorky. If I'd have known the camera was on me, I would have made sure not to have my mouth open.
Well, there's no pictures of me when I was younger, so that's kind of cool.
Not really. You were a handsome guy when you were younger.
I know, but I got over it.
Yeah.
You know what it was? It was that Colorado stuff.
Yeah, I got to get my baby. Look at my beard; it's all on one side.
You didn't comb it.
Don't look at the front. Go to the side.
Yeah, you got to get a different perspective. There you go.
No,
I feel
there-
That's
it.
fine now. Yeah.
There was one of those news talk PBS
They messed them up in
programs.
the hospital.
Oh, there
And
you
we
go.
haven't fixed them.
There was this
Hospitals do that.
there was this one. It was on. I think it was PBS or whatever, and they had this panel, and it was always the same guys. And this one guy, his nose was way over here, and he had trained himself over the years because he had a lot of experience being on TV. He knew how to hold his head just right so the nose would face directly into the camera, and he always kissed. He always stayed at the exact same angle.
Dude, there's a guy that uh there's a guy that I stopped watching his YouTube. Do I look different now?
You
I think
don't
need
need
a
a car.
wash.
My resolution was like 4 times lower. I just changed it to what it should be.
Oh, okay.
No, there's a guy that I watch on YouTube that I like, but it seemed like he had this weird awkward angle looking into the camera every time, and he always had the same kind of red checkered shirt. And I'm thinking, I'm watching AI. I don't think this guy is real. And I almost blocked him off YouTube because I didn't want to see him anymore. And then I saw a live stream that he was doing, and I'm like, oh, okay, that is him. He just always wears these red check, and so it was real. But this awkward kind of like he's off to the side looking at the camera too, and I just thought, you know, he used some AI program to do this capture of him. But Matt Morse TV is what he's called.
Okay.
And if you look at all of his videos, he's got the same awkward angle and the same kind of red flannel shirt and fake background. But no, I guess he's a real guy, so
Right.
he's okay with
That's
me now.
good. I like to watch Charlie White. He's got long hair.
Oh shoot, don't
Hell,
want that.
I
He
hate
looks
people
like
with long hair.
Jesus, kind of, but he's really funny.
You said that about the Professor of Rock.
I didn't say that about the
Oh,
Professor.
that was
of Rock.
Gottschalk. Never mind. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I like the Professor of Rock, except I
Oh, you
always
too. I can't stand him. He's
I
all
always-
like, "You'll
Let me
never
finish.
guess what happened to this singer. His haircut." No, he won't say his haircut because he doesn't say anything bad. He's just like, he acts like it's the most, like he's telling you this thing you never knew about before. This band never thought they'd have a hit with this song that was 7 minutes long. But guess what happened? Just tune in, and in 7 minutes in, it was called "Stairway to Heaven." Yeah, I know this song was popular. Shut up,
yeah.
stupid
The
Professor
thing
of
with
Rock.
Professor of Rock, I listen to him, but I always fast forward to the end because I don't care about his countdowns. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and he did a. I think I know when I unsubscribed is he did a countdown of the biggest, the definitive classic rock song.
Yeah.
And I think to him it was Bohemian Rhapsody. And I mean, that's a novelty song. It's not even classic. It's a stupid novelty song. And he put Bon Jovi and stuff in there. I'm like, no, nothing from the 80s can be considered classic rock. Sorry. And he was like, he put for Skinner, he put Sweet Home Alabama. It's like, no. Classic rock has to be bombastic, overblown, pretentious, long, melodic, lots of different passages in it. Stairway to Heaven, yes. Layla, yes. Crazy on You from Heart, yes. That could be a contender. There's a lot of songs from the 70s that Carry On Wayward Son, yes. I mean, that was one of the contenders.
At least that one was optimistic. But I think I loved Kansas back in the day. I still do that. You know, the music is beautiful. But Dust in the Wind, how many people offed themselves after listening to Dust in the
Probably
Wind?
a lot. That's a depressing song. I remember I was having lunch with Josh a few years ago, and I don't think it was related to that song. It was just somebody he was listening to, and he's basically said that, we're just, according to the universe, we're just pieces of dust, and that we're nothing and everything else. And he was kind of getting depressed. I'm like, well, I'm spiritual, so not me. He's like, oh, have fun, dust. I don't know. I didn't say it
That's
like
the thing
that
is,
particularly.
how
but it's
special
like,
how special must we be to have the only planet worth a damn and practically the whole galaxy? I mean, maybe there's others, but this one worked out really well. So I think we're kind of special.
I would think so. Well, a lot of people are discovering spirituality. I think Joe Rogan's finally found Jesus. Russell Brand has. Who else? There was another one that was one of those big kind of atheist people that's kind of changed his tune. But yeah, they're starting to. I think it goes with, like, a lot of people never believed in God until they saw the devil,
Mm.
and I think a lot of people saw the devil in the last 4 or 5 years. It's called Black Rock, or Blackstone. It's hard to differentiate the black holding companies.
Yeah, they're all interrelated.
It's probably all the same thing. It's just, if they broke up Standard Oil and Ma Bell, why can't they break up Google and BlackRock and all
Well,
these
Ma
things?
Bell kind of did that whole T1000 thing and just sort of sucked itself back together.
Yeah, I guess it did. Yeah, we don't have Southern Bell or Western Bell anymore. It's all
Yeah,
it's all
Southwestern Bell basically bought up all the other baby bells and then bought AT&T just for the
How
stock
could they be
symbol.
allowed to do that? I thought that was the whole point of breaking up a monopoly.
Nemopoly.
And the guy in the White House now, he isn't helping out. I mean, he was ready to sell the Panama Canal to BlackRock.
Yeah.
So all we need is them to own that too.
Yeah.
They're the source of all evil in the world, aren't they, Bud?
Well,
You okay, Bud? Got a cut on your forehead.
no, it's just a reflection of a shadow.
Oh.
The shadow of your finger is on your
Poor guy.
head.
We're pulling for you, Bud.
Thank you.
Yay.
The priest said your name last Sunday.
Good.
Both of
He
them?
even said it like I do. What? Well, he didn't say. He said Mark.
Oh,
But if I was the priest, I'd have said what?
okay.
Baby.
You know, the source of all the problems in the world is this dude right here.
That little fat kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. He is the source.
Actually, you don't look that fat there. Just kind of your arms.
I'm thinking that's probably summertime. And summertime, we had our little cabin up in Northern California, and it had electricity and plumbing and all that stuff. Did not have a television set. And, you know, years later, I kind of got it. I thought, but my parents were really smart not having a TV set in that place because I played outside all damn day long. It was me and my Tonka trucks.
Hey, I might have been one of your Tonka trucks in the past life.
Yeah.
Because we get on pretty good. I would have liked to have played with you, but we're too far apart and
Yeah.
too many states apart. You seem like a kid who didn't mishandle your toys.
I was pretty good about it. I mean, they did get a little scuffed up because I played with them. I wasn't one of those little fairy kids that just doesn't touch anything. But I did have fun.
I remember my niece and nephew.
Yeah, I wouldn't. They would never end up. They might be chipped, but they'd never get all smashed up.
Well, they started playing with. They asked if they could play with my Xbox cars. Now I was an adult, I was probably in my 20s, and I'm like, as long as you don't mistreat them, you can play with them. Just don't be throwing them around. It took 2 minutes, and they were throwing them up against the wall at the other end of the room, the living room. Like, that's it. Nope. I mean, they took my mom's dinette, like she had a 60s dinette set, and they took knives and ripped out the seats with the knives.
Oh, there's
They took my
psychopaths.
dresser and broke broke 2 or 3 of the handles off of my dresser.
They're
They're just little
psychopaths.
psychopaths, yeah.
Jennifer,
What?
I need your help
Okay.
Hope he's doing okay.
Yeah.
Where you at?
in the hallway.
You gotta call me before you start doing things.
I did like 5 times.
No, I mean on the phone.
It doesn't, it's dead still.
What are you trying to do? Where are you trying to go?
I need some Imodium or I need to go to the bathroom.
Oh, you need to go potty. Let's go potty, baby.
Well, I'm glad he showed up. He
Yeah.
Sorry.
didn't look as good as he usually does.
Let me. Sorry.
Think we should wrap.
I guess.
All right. Let
I
me.
was kind of hoping for a funny moment. We didn't get a lot.
No, we have no funny moments at all. Okay, let's see. All right, folks, and you say your goodbyes.
Hey, thanks for hanging out, Laura and Wendy and Fidesco.
Yeah, thanks for all you watching, and remember to.
And, yeah,
like
Wendy,
and-
let's keep in touch. Maybe we'll do a watch party for Last Page of Summer.
There you go. And remember to like and share and subscribe and check out our Patreon. Oh, wait, shit, we don't have a Patreon.
Yeah,
Where'd you
we
get a
need-
Patreon? Yeah,
Gotta
we
need
have people
to
sending
like
us money.
us.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if Gottschalk can spend $1,500 on a fucking 50-year-old gaming,
Well, we all need our toys.
I guess. All right, folks.
Oh, there's Bud. He's backwards though,
It's facing the wrong way.
with no head. Ooh, that's bad. Oh, there it is.
All right. Well, anyhow, that night,
All right.
folks. We'll see you on Transformama next week.
That's right. Take care, everybody.